When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorium, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.
Yes, indeed. It is somewhat sad to me that we're only going to be hearing that three more times officially, before we do not hear it again, because we will have a new theme and a new intro and the whole business very, very soon. But not quite yet. First, we have some unfinished business with Esper Genesis. Welcome, everybody, to day 77 of Esper Genesis, Shadow of the Zephyr Aftermath. Again, sponsored as always by Alligator Alley Entertainment. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you into the fold for the next few hours as we go through and try to figure out what's going to happen with this crew as they make their way into the center of this hive to try to save the planet of Illustria and hopefully figure out a little bit about what's going on with everything else. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be an epic conclusion over the next couple of weeks, and I am very happy that all of you are here for the penultimate session. First of all, thank you to both Mrs. Dunsel for the resub, 43 months of support. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to J-Rab, who just resubbed just now with Prime. Thank you for the 45 months of resub. And of course, thank you to Arudinel for the resub that happened earlier on tonight at the tier 3 level. That is amazing. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it, Arudinel. Appreciate it, Mrs. Dunsel. Appreciate it, J-Rab. Thank you, thank you. And I am very excited to have everyone back here. Before we go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support us here in the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Thank you for the cheer, J-Rab, as well. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. YouTube. Please check out our Discord with !arvcord. Please become a member over at Discord. Please subscribe to us over on the YouTube channel. Please as well follow me over on Twitter, !arvtweets. That is always appreciated. And website for all of this is arvineleron.com. On the financial side, !arvshop is the merchandise area where you can get stuff for the Infinity and Beyond crew and Adventures of Middle-earth crew, and soon to be the Mysterious Peaks crew. So that's going to be happening as well. Again, that campaign is starting up next month, which is going to be very exciting. I cannot wait for that. So exclamation point Arv, what did I say? Arv shop for that. Exclamation point Arv Treon is the Patreon, which is currently sitting at 20 patrons, $201 per month. It's been holding steady there for a couple of months. And again, that really is the financial backbone of the channel. It makes it possible for me to get awesome videos and intro and outros and amazing overlays and things like that. So that's going to be very exciting. And I'm going to talk more about that stuff in just a moment, actually. But that again is exclamation point Arv Treon. You can get cool stuff for yourself and cool stuff for the channel, as well as inspirations to help our players. So please keep that stuff in mind. Thank you so much for gifting a sub to Write, Teach, Play. Arudnell is always far too generous, but thank you so much. Wow, 66 gift subs. That's crazy. Thank you, Arudnell, so much, and welcome back to Write, Teach, Play. I wonder who that guy is, who subscribed for 29 months. Thank you, Arudnell. And so the Patreon, and of course, subscribing to the channel, like you just saw several people do, and gift subs allows you to get those custom sub badges and emotes to use everywhere across Twitch, and of course also allows you to get those inspirations to help the players as well. Yeah, exactly. Some random dude never shows up. But anyway, so you can sub to the channel for that. On the publishing side, exclamation point Icarus for my Icarus graphic novel from Athos Arts, exclamation point Library for my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library from Alligator Rally Entertainment, the sponsor of this campaign, and of course exclamation point Greyshade KS. Let me remind everyone something I've been talking about quite a bit, which is that we are now only a little over a week away from the official publication release of Greyshade, the first novel in the Grey Assassin trilogy, and 2 weeks after that is the launch of the Greyshade Kickstarter, featuring a tabletop role-playing game from Alligator Alley, featuring Renegade and Heretic, the last 2 books in the Grey Assassin trilogy from Athos Arts, and featuring an audiobook from Trendane, also featuring a limited edition coin, Founder's Coin, with a design by Tari Toons, by Norse Foundry, is going to be producing that, and we've got other surprises along the way. I am very excited about this. I have now seen the Kickstarter video. The Kickstarter video is complete. It is badass. I cannot tell you how great it is. I am super pumped up for it. Garlic Tofu can confirm it is like, oh man, it is. I actually got chills watching it. It's super cool. So I'm very excited for it. Very excited for this. It's going to be a big deal for me. But even bigger than that, earlier than that, I should say, just before the Greyshade stuff, is going to be another big event, which I'll talk about in just a minute. First of all, of course, as always, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter. Very important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Very important to reach out to others when you need help and to reach out to others when they need help as well. And exclamation point Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine fight back against an illegitimate war, a war which is attempting to destroy them as a people. They have fought back incredibly bravely and have fought so far successfully as well, but with incredible cost and incredible disruption, obviously, to their lives and liberties. And so this is a small way to be able to help and show solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Now, quick note on schedule tonight and tomorrow. We are playing Esper Genesis tonight. Tomorrow night, we've got more space stuff as we will be continuing with Metroid Prime. That's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. And then next week, we have got the big, of course, moment. We've got Adventures in Middle-earth that's going to be popping up. We've got, I think, Triangle Strategy as well. We've got D&D with GOG Ghost of Saltmarsh. But we also have a major event happening, and I, for this one, am going to talk about something as I bring in that. First of all, hi everyone, good to see you all. I hope everybody's doing well. Proudly wearing my Esper Genesis Crucible Core shirt today. But I also want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing starting next weekend, which is going to be super important, and I want for that to bring in the crew. So I have unmuted myself so they can hear me. I apologize for interrupting what was, I'm sure, an awesome conversation. Then I'm going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to head over here to reveal a group of, I always am never sure when I see a group of smiling / laughing players, what the implications of that are. I'm always like, what? I don't know what this means. So I will just assume that it's fine and that, in no way were they, making plans that involved air mattresses. I'm sure it's fine. And I am excited for what we're going to see tonight. As I mentioned, Carlos was not able to join us last week or last time. And, some stuff happened last time that is very significant that we'll talk about.
I thought it was just a shopping episode.
It's a shopping episode. Yeah, no. Well, shopping for trouble maybe. But we will talk about that in just a moment. I'm going to allow these folks actually to introduce themselves, and then I'm going to talk about what they are going to be introducing next weekend. So I will start with the gentleman in the top left of our group of squares, although these people are not square, of course. And that, of course, is the spectacular Johnny Pittman. It's good to see you, Johnny. How is life in the universe with you? It looks like you're coming to us from an undisclosed location, if I'm reading this properly. And who are you playing tonight?
An undisclosed location in California, of all places.
Oh, you're back in Cali. All right.
Be back in on the West Coast.
Welcome.
Back in the Pacific time zone, the only correct time zone. Square. When people do a square, I actually think they're doing a rectangle. I don't. It's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a conversation. But yeah. Anyways, so no. Yeah, I'm back on the West Coast finally. I am here for a few weeks, I think. If I can get my butt in gear and get moving, I actually may make it to Origins, which I'm not completely confident about, but I think I'm going to make it there. So
that would be great.
We will figure that out by next week, and I'll be able to say something about that. But otherwise, good long trip across the bottom of the country. Went through places I had never been before, like Texas. That's an interesting state. Otherwise,
it's a long pause, just like that.
Yeah, so I have to say it's a neat looking place. I also saw some other things like Trump's wall, which was a little scary, and I have pictures to share with that at some time. But otherwise, yeah.
Surprised you found any of it left, actually.
I found more than I was really expecting, honestly, and it felt more like a fence than a wall, but also it was a really eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, that aside, I'm playing an Ashen Forge melder by the name of Aramis, who has an air mattress that may or may not come into whatever final battle we're building up towards. I hope it does, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I have this moment where there's going to be clearly like, and the big boss, plunges the spike of doom towards you. Like I block it with the air mattress, and the overwhelming pressure from chat for me to allow that to work is going to be just a thing to behold. Just like, yep. Of course it would hold back a spike of doom. Why wouldn't it do that? They're those surprisingly tough, those air mattresses. Anyway, but I am excited to see how Aramis handles things today in this hive, as we will discuss. Always a pleasure to have Johnny with us. Also, as I move across the row, across to, of course, the amazing Cat Rambo, whose work I can now say I have now finished, You Sexy Thing. It was great.
Hooray!
And I really, really enjoyed it. And I feel like it sets up... Man, it sets up a lot for like so many things, which I won't get into because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but including not just fiction, incidentally. This is the kind of thing which Netflix should be all over. Like, oh my God, if you want Firefly without the misogyny, you need to go check out this right now. But no, it was genuinely excellent work. Not that I would expect anything less, Kat, but I really enjoyed it. Good stuff. And beyond that, how has life been for you? How are you, and who are you playing tonight?
Life is swell. I finished painting my kitchen and dining room today, so I feel full of accomplishment. The color is Sprite. It is unclear whether it is the creature or the soda. I am playing Petrosinus, an Ashen Forged Sentinel with a very large hammer and a mysterious affinity for machines. Artificial intelligence machines.
Indeed. And who knows how much more mysterious that will be. Not maybe too much longer. Many things will be, many I's will be dotted and T's crossed, chat. Or maybe I'll just do like a Lost and or Sopranos ending where I just fade to black. You're like, what does that mean? Like, and I just whistle Don't Stop Believing in the background or whatever. No. I won't do that. But it's going to be fun. I'm very excited. I'm also a little nervous about sticking the landing because of how wonderful these players have been. So making sure that we all get it together. But we as a collective storytelling, because that's what it's about, is this group that tells stories, will do wonderfully with it. I'm very excited for it. Always a pleasure to have Kat with us. Also, always a pleasure to have Carlos with us, who's, like professional life is just blowing up in all the best kind of ways. And we can't talk about how, but it's amazing. Just trust me. And yeah, Carlos, how is, what in terms of things you can talk about publicly, how's life been for you, my friend? How's everything, and who are you playing tonight?
Well, I can tell you that by May 26th, when I have my grades turned in, I will be a changed man.
Oh yeah, I know that feel. It's already in. I am already a changed man.
You're ahead of me. So like right now, I'm in the panic mode where. So I met with 66 students over 3 days over Zoom. As I was trying to help them finish strong at the end of the semester here, and so we are. What is it? Launching towards Bethlehem. If I can,
Yep.
Prostitute Yates here for my own purposes. Yeah, it's we're gonna slouch toward the end of the semester here, and then it's just underwear, Captain Crunch, and video games for like 4 days.
Yes.
Ready. I'm ready for summer, my friends. It has been a busy, good but busy and stressful semester, so I am ready to play tonight, and I am playing Ludoku Sleepwell, engineer, healer, charismatic, friendly group builder, inspirational speaker, and friend especially to Aramis.
I love, these are all completely true statements in every respect. I am very excited to see how all that happens, where we hear about when Sleepwell's living in a van down by the river. I'm excited for that. But in the meantime, I'm also excited, of course, to have Carlos with us, and also very excited to have one Mr. Zach Clay with us, who also, listen, again, this is what happens, right? You surround yourself with talented, smart, able people, and they're just kind of like, yeah, well, I'm not traveling, writing this and doing that and connecting with the other and blah, blah, blah. And so, just like that, we have yet another person who's in this mix as Mr. Zach Clay, who is also a busy bee these days, is back with us. Zach, how's life? How's the universe and everything with you? And who are you playing tonight?
Life in the universe around me feels very busy, but I am all here for it. What can you do? One thing I will say, there are many things that I can't talk about yet publicly, but I can say that I was actually on Dragon Talk earlier this month, which is the official D&D podcast, as a guest for How to DM. And I can drop a link in chat if you guys want to give it a listen. It was in an episode with Amy Dallin as well. And me and Shelly talked about DMing for kids and things that I've run into with DMing for kids and running games of D&D for students and things like that. So, but yeah, that was very cool. And that's out and that's public and that's a thing that exists. So I can tell you about that. But otherwise, yeah, no, I've just been running games of D&D for my job, and then preparing for other projects and things, and very excited about Esper Genesis, and also Tales and Tomes. I'm also excited about Tales and Tomes, but that's already out.
I was gonna say, yes.
About Expedition
from the Mysterious Peaks.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So yeah, anyway, that's me, and tonight I am playing Cosmoritis. Oh, this is the second to last time I ever get to say that.
I know.
Cosmoritis, the Bellare hunter / specialist with a very large sniper, and sometimes an inflatable bed when it's passed to him briefly.
In his dimensional pocket when he uses it on a regular basis. It is a great pleasure to have Zach with us. Yes, we'll talk more about the sort of post-mortems for this crew, which hopefully won't be mortems. Let's see how we do. But next week. But I do want to, and this is why I wanted to do this before announcing this next, I did want to take this opportunity to announce the lineup for ARFCon, which is coming up next week. First of all, Chad, I would like to humbly request that basically starting now and moving forward, that if people are able to make reference to this, if any of you are on Twitter, the official ARVCon tag is hashtag ARVCon, ARV. So I'll actually just put it in chat quickly. Con 2022. That's the hashtag that we're going to be trying to use with all of these things. And this is, of course, to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. Now, I'm going to talk about the schedule in a minute, but I do want to quickly run over the announcement of the official list of sponsors that we have. Many of you already know about the top donation items that we have, which is that the third top donator is going to receive a board game pack from Pegasus Spiele, which is the sponsor of my Talisman Adventure campaign. And that's going to consist of one copy each of the Micro Macro Crime City, Port Royal, and Bonfire board games. Very exciting. I already got those shipped in, so that's going to be sick.
That's awesome.
The second top donator is going to receive a copy of our good friend Prince Justin's Waterfall, which I have already showed on screen. I don't want to take the time to do it now because I don't want to delay us too much, but I will show more of it tomorrow. But again, it is this sort of, I don't know, medium height waterfall, which I think was taken in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. I need to double check. But he was kind enough to send me an extra one, which was really nice of him. So I have it sitting over there. It is really beautiful, and it is on metal. It is actually printed on metal on a metal stand so that you can just put it directly on your window. That'll be the second top donator. And the top donator prize is going to be from Rock God, which is a piece called Blue Skies, and is this incredible, gorgeous color photo of New England in the fall, basically, of this pond reflecting with trees in it. It's just gorgeous, and it is fully mounted on metal, literally ready to hang. You don't have to frame it. You could literally just put it up on your wall. And this is, again, a spectacular, art-worthy hanging in a museum piece. It's really gorgeous. So that's going to be the top donator prize. We have an incredible amount of giveaway stuff, game codes and books and things like that. I should also mention that everyone who donates at least $1 will be entered in a drawing at the end of ArvCon 2022 to win an exclusive original of the Alia Terra art, which I showed. This is Alia Terra, is the collection of non-binary Romanian folk tales that was produced by Athos Arts earlier this year, I guess last year now, which was really, really awesome. And the artist Matthew Spencer and an anonymous donator made this possible. And so that is going to go, I didn't list that because that's going to go to anyone theoretically who contributes $1 could win this. So it's going to be really awesome. Now, as far as the official sponsors, sponsor list is like this. Here is the full list that we have in alphabetical order. Alligator Rally Entertainment is a sponsor of ArvCon 2022. They will have things that they'll be giving away here. Athos Arts is an official sponsor. They will also be giving things away. Fatbot Games, the maker of Vaporum and Vaporum Lockdown, are going to be giving things away. In fact, they have given us 10 keys of any combination of Vaporum or Vaporum Lockdown on essentially almost any platform: PC, Mac, Linux, Nintendo Switch, basically GOG.com, basically the choice of the person who wins it. So that's really epic. GOG.com itself is going to be giving us a bunch of codes. They have been a sponsor in the past. We're happy to have them back again. Harebrained Schemes, the maker of the Shadowrun video games and the Battletech video games, is again sponsoring us this year. Nomad Games, the maker of the Talisman Digital Edition board games, which are amazing, also are going to be sponsoring us this year. Pegasus Spiele, as I've already mentioned, will be a sponsor, as well as will Tin Man Games, who are the folks that have done a bunch of the Fighting Fantasy game book conversions also. So we have this year a new record. We have got 8 corporate sponsors, which is a new record for us. We have a couple more that are possibilities, but those are the ones that I know of as of right now. So thank you to our sponsors. We also have a ton of individual people who are contributing things as well, which is super awesome. So now the schedule is as follows. Next Friday, 1 week from today, Friday, May 27th, this very crew will be beginning ArvCon 2022 starting at 8 p.m. Eastern with the finale of Esper Genesis Shadow of the Zephyr. If you have followed our previous, counting tonight, 77 episodes, folks, you will not want to miss episode 78, which will wrap up this story in epic fashion. Many of this group will be going forward into future months with the new campaign of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. But as far as Esper Genesis is concerned, this will be putting a wrap to those characters, or will it? But in any case, it will be bringing this to a conclusion, this story to a conclusion. So that will happen from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern. Day 2, Saturday, May 28th at 11:30 a.m., we will be interviewing 3 Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation scientists. Alison Didichuk, Lexi von Diesemann, and Sukrit Singh will be joining us, all scientists for Damon Runyon, and all people who will be part of a later event, which I will discuss in just a moment. Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern, Adventures of Middle-earth. Erebor Adventures will return with Amal El-Matar and with Trendane Sparks and with Tari Tunes and with Brad Bollier as they continue their campaign, and they will be trying to defeat a dragon, so, no big deal, nothing epic about that. And then at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, a one-shot D&D adventure with GOGCOM players Darksaber 2K, Fleos, Inanda, Peripheral Mike, and Undeveloped Bruce, the folks basically over on the GOGCOM channel that I play games with. They are doing a one-shot coming together to be able to play with us from 4:30 to 7:30, so that's going to be very exciting. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday the 28th, it will be our annual concert featuring Kilgore Trout, Chrono Wolf, some guy named Zach Clay, I've heard rumors, and Indy, full stop, will be back with us. So Indy, who's an awesome dude, who finished up our concert last time. So this is actually our largest concert, I believe, ever with 4 different musicians. Very excited for that. That's Saturday the 28th. Sunday the 29th, we have got day 3 of ARFCon, will be from 12 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, our marathon session of D&D with Infinity and Beyond, Eberron, Oracle of War, Season 2, A Century of Ashes, as we move into the city of Sharn from 12 to 7:30 p.m. And from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, the 29th, we have a special tabletop role-playing game event, which has been coordinated and put together by some guy who, his first name rhymes with Barlos, and I've heard that this person has some stuff that he's done. But this group is going to be, it's going to be an event that is going to be GM'd by Will Sobel. And if any of you remember my JulyCon charity event from a couple of years ago, Will was the one responsible for doing that. And then a group of Rick Riordan Presents authors. That will include one Mr. Carlos Hernandez. It will include Jennifer Cervantes. It will include Yunha Lee, and it will include Kwame Mbalia, all of whom are wonderful people, some of whom were in that very same JulyCon event. And of course, Will was DMing it. And so that's a big deal. And I'm super excited about that. That is going to be a special event happening Sunday, May 29th from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Finally, ARFCon 2023 Day 4, the final day, will start at Monday.
Day 4.
What did I say? 2020. Oh, you know why? Because I wrote 2023 here in Discord. I don't know why I did that. That
already
should be
planning. Hey, starting early.
2022. Yeah, no, thank you. No, 2022. No, thanks. I'll stick with this year. Day 4 will involve Monday, May 30th from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern, a special Strange Friends session, one shot with Brandon O'Brien as your GM. This will consist of our usual Speculate Strange Friends crew that has been playing Fractal Spire, Girl by Moonlight. And if any of you have been watching that awesome campaign, you are going to get to see a one shot with that crew. And then from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern will be a one-shot tabletop role-playing adventure with Michael R. Underwood as the GM and the 3 scientists that I mentioned who will be playing tabletop themselves, which I think is super cool. They are all good sports. They're very excited about it. And so you will get a chance to see people doing good as players when they're not busy doing good as scientists. And they do a lot of good with that organization. And we will wrap up at 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday, May 30th with what I hope will be the best ARFCon ever. Our goal is $4,000. It was $3,500 last year. We blew past that and ended up making $7,000. I'm hoping that we get way past $4,000 as well, but that is our goal for ARFCon. So it's a lot, is basically what I'm saying. That is the official announcement of the corporate sponsors in the schedule, and it will all start with this crew starting next Friday with the finale of Esper Genesis. And, last time, the Esper Genesis crew kind of felt their oats for a long time because they were pretty convinced that they were the ones to bring in the most money, and they have definitely challenged for most money raised in the past. And so we will see if that happens. I have heard other crews refer to themselves as tier 1, top tier, S tier, Pokemon phrases that I don't fully understand. So I'm hoping that we can get that little friendly friendly bit of competition with them going. So we'll see how much money gets raised in the events that these fine people are involved in. But I'm very grateful to these folks for starting things off. I'm very excited about this event. It's for a great cause, and I'm very pleased that Damon Runyon is working with us directly again this year. And we will have a PayPal link for you in the whole business. So that's our sponsor list. That's our concert. That's our schedule. I think it's great, and I can't wait. So thank you for the patience of the players, but I wanted them to be here because they are going to be launching next year. With that, next week, not next year. I'm already thinking about 2023. Next week, let's worry about that. With that said, let us get into a chat and let us fire up a little bit of our music and talk about what happened in our last session as he pulls up the music, which will be... no, where's the thing that I usually use? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. The classic. All right, let me make sure everyone hears that. Okay, good. I think everyone should be hearing that now.
Yep.
All right. In our last session, the party, having gotten out the minecart filled with various elements of this new stuff, basically, that they had assembled, this stuff which they are convinced is Sorium, and which all of their sensors scans sort of proves to them is Sorium. They managed to get this stuff out. It was not easy because there was a whole, are they going to drop it and have the whole thing explode the entire facility? But they managed to get the thing out along with a good deal of this material, which was then used or sort of retrofitted into one of several ships. Now, the crew had several options in terms of how they wanted to kind of launch this assault on the inner chamber. You may remember, if you've been watching this over the last several months, that the Illustrians, this planet that the crew made their way to thanks to a special navigational system designed managed by the Hyperlance as controlled by the networked Alfreds, that they managed to get down into the planet and discovered that the planet of Illustria was under attack by these strange insect-like creatures. And the reason they had come here in the first place was because Abraxas and Aricia Angel had told them through messages that this place was probably the key to ending the chances of the Shadow Technocracy making any kind of return and threatening the Silrain Arc ever again. And when the party reached this planet, they could tell why that might have been the case, because the planet itself seems to just live and breathe Sorium. There is more Sorium here than any of the characters have encountered at any other time in their travels through the Silrain Arc. And so they decided, after coming down, that they needed to help these people and figure out a way to make their way to, hopefully, Abraxas and Aricia Angel, who might have crash-landed somewhere on this planet, theoretically, and that they had to help these people avoid complete extinction at the hands of these creatures, these Zamaron creatures. And so the party had two options. One was basically to try to fly this super fast ship and kind of go as fast as they could get to the bottom of the mountain, basically where this inner chamber is held, and then make their way up to what used to be known as the Illustrians' sort of center of religion, the place where the mother can be heard from, and has now been taken over by the Zamarin. So one option was to go low and fast and then kind of make their way up. The other option was to try to do this from up top, basically take a freighter, which was the other ship that they had on hand, that the base had on hand, fly over the top and drop a lot of the Sorium bomb essentially into the middle of it, blow up a lot of the defenders, and then in the confusion have these folks slip in, try to infiltrate and get to the center where they could track down this luminant, this artifact that they've been seeking, and hopefully also eliminate the Zamarin as a threat. They elected option number 2, and so as they flew over the top of it and dropped this bomb into the center of the hive, at least the first part of it was handled properly. The thing blew up, and they were just... as they were there, they had to basically navigate through a bunch of charred and falling bodies of Zamarin creatures. And so the freighter basically made its way through, buffeted by the bodies, hundreds of bodies of these creatures just sort of slamming into the ship as they made their way down. And finally, not quite crash landed, but close, into the inside of this hive. The bizarre ruins beneath this mother's stage. And so as we pick up with our heroes, there is a golden sticky substance which is below the open payload doors where they had originally dropped the bomb. The ship is basically tilted and landed inside the hive somewhere, and they are sort of half in and half out of this honey-like substance. They do not hear any buzzing right now, but they are hearing occasional slams as bodies of these creatures continue to hit the top of the freighter as they are there. They also believe they have lost their illustrious pilot, who may have perished in the attempt to land somewhat safely, but the payload door is open. And so as I hand things back over to the party, you can see that there are hundreds of hexagonal-shaped openings that are visible from where you are into the payload, and that apparently one of those hexagonal structures lead you in the direction of where the temple holding the luminant should be kept. And so with that said, I'm now going to hand things back over to the party and ask what you would like to do.
Kaz turns to everyone and he says, as we sort of look down each of the hexagonal chambers, he's like, I don't get to do this often. I got this. And immediately, I'm going to try to do some hunter stuff and make a survival check to track. We'll say, oh yeah, so at the end of my last long rest, I can choose my favored enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And since we haven't encountered a lot of, like, I have one that's always locked in, and I think it's constructs.
Right.
That's always going to be there, and then I get to choose an additional one.
Orcs.
Yeah, I choose orcs.
Dragons.
Dragons, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Zamarin is a species. Like, usually it says I choose a creature type. Aberrations.
It would be an
automatons.
aberration.
Okay, so I chose an aberration. And I have advantage on survival to track my chosen enemies, although that's to track them. And we're trying to head to the mother's stage, right?
That is the theory.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to... Kaz is going to look for any indication of, like, one chamber that seems more heavily tread than the others, perhaps with larger tracks or showing signs of, like, sound or movement or anything.
Okay. I should also mention, as you're doing that, the entire area for all of you feels oddly muffled. If you, to jump out of game for a minute, can imagine what it's like being inside, let's say, a closet with lots of jackets and sweaters and the sound that has, right? This is what the sound of this thing is, so that even the slams of the falling bodies of the creatures on the Zamarin on the freighter is sort of like this vroom, 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 rather than a sort of trebly sound. It's very bassy and muffled, presumably because of all the honey-like goop that surrounds you here. Okay, so yeah, you can make that survival check for sure.
Okay. Let's see. So if I'm tracking my chosen enemies, let's say, I think what I'm actually trying to do here is is it true that we killed one of the queens, or at least what we thought to be one of the queens at the end of
you're not sure that it's a queen. It was a huge thing. It's not clear that it was a queen, though.
Got it. Okay.
You have heard that there is a queen, though, and maybe
Sure.
possibly more than one.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So I suppose rather than focusing my tracking on the mother's stage, because I have really no indication of where that is,
Mhm.
I'm going to try to track the Zamarin, and in specific the queen. So
Okay.
yeah, which would give me advantage. So I'll make that roll.
All right.
Here's the first one. Let's see. Yeah. That's 19. And
Ah.
The second one, the 17. So 19, very close.
Yeah, you think that there are a few that might be more, and it looks like it's not just one. I mean, there are like easily 100 of these tunnels, but as you're kind of scanning it, you can see one that maybe somewhat fortunately is not that far off the ground, so you should be able to, make your way over to it. That is one of several, maybe 3 or 4, that seems to be, as you put it, more heavily trafficked than the others. At least there seems to be less of the goop in that, and there seems to be more examples of, like, you don't see any movement down it at the moment, but at least it seems like there's been more the walls seem somewhat more hollowed out, and so forth, down that particular tunnel. And again, there's like 3 or 4 of these that look like that.
It's one of these 3 or 4. I turn back to everyone else.
So, as if awaking from a long slumber,
Yes.
it's like shakes himself. It's like
Sleep well.
So just a few details. So we flew in, we kind of crashed into this place, but after we had set up a bunch of explosions, right?
Yeah, the explosions basically killed a bunch of the defenders, and so you flew through this green cloud of venom that was left over from a lot of the bodies, and these charred bodies basically were raining down on the freighter as you were flying down.
But we also lost our pilot.
Yeah, when you crashed in.
And so, I take it a minute has passed, so I couldn't bring them back if I wanted to.
Not likely. It's possible. It seems unlikely because they seem like they're like you'd have to remove the. Without getting too graphic about it, the metal of the freighter is kind of partially in their body, basically.
Oh, they went full like Firefly death right there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm angry about that.
Yeah.
What equipment did we take with us? Like, do we have little like jetpacks that we can zoom around? Do we have any kind of like grenades that we got off of them? Did we make a tactical plan so that we could, do this really excellent assault?
I like the nervous keeps nodding, shaking his head no.
Like
it was just a choice of A or B, I think, was how we got to this particular point.
We didn't really think about the other letters. So
you did have some. In fairness, though, you did do some tactical preparation. Like I know Petra has some grenades and so forth. I'm pretty sure you did do some of that.
Okay, so basically, we're kind of like going in as an assault team, hoping to like kill the queen, and then we're getting out of here. How?
Ooh, that's something to figure out later.
We will escape in the chaos. The ensuing chaos.
As we always do.
We're using chaos to escape.
Yes.
They asked you if it was okay, but you didn't say anything. So
Make a cloud of chaos. I think it was your suggestion.
Yeah, sure.
Sounds like it. Yeah, I hear chaos goes like 45 miles an hour, so we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're just sort of like dressed in our normal sort of like armor or whatever. We didn't get environmental suits or anything. We're just like gonna roll around in this honey.
No, you do. In fairness to that, you do. I mean, you've been provided with enough sort of environmental stuff to be able to survive within reason. I mean, the stuff that they have because the thing is they don't have a lot of details about what's in here because they've never been allowed in because they would just be slaughtered. So the Illustrians provided you what technology they had, but it's frankly more limited probably than what you provided, with the exception of the freighter, which got you there, the pilot, which brought you down into the center of it, and then, of course, the retrofitted thorium bombs, basically, that you just dropped on this.
And we don't have any more thorium bombs. So
not at the moment, no, because you used them to blow up 1,000+ defenders.
Right. Okay, so we'll pick some up along the way. No problem. All right. So, basically, Sleep has all of this. He's got like math swimming around his head as he's doing calculations right now, and figuring all this out. He's gonna say, first of all, okay, before we move, I know we just blew a hole in this place, but usually insects that swarm, they swarm towards a problem, not away from it. If you step on an anthill, your foot will be covered with ants in a second. This is a little bit weird that there are no creatures here.
Well, we did just kill a lot of them.
Right, but that would usually cause everybody to then pile in and attack whatever is attacking. I mean, I've stepped in an anthill.
Several more bodies hit the hull of the ship. Doof, doof, doof.
They went really high. Wow.
Maybe they went back to defend the queen. I don't know.
All right. Well, seeing as we don't have a way out, we don't really have any other place to go, I think we should just follow your tracks there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did we send in the speedy vehicle also to blow up?
Yeah, to try to distract at below. And you don't know, obviously, because of where you're positioned, you don't know like whether that worked.
Oh.
But it is possible that may also have distracted some of the creatures. There was a distraction that was part of this. Which is why when you were all saying, no, we had no plan, I'm like, wait a minute, you had a little bit of a plan.
In fact, Sleepwell, I just remembered, we were a little smarter. We do have an escape plan, and it rhymes with Viper Fance.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
all right.
We're gonna call Rona when we're done, and she's gonna swoop in and take us out. That was the plan. I just remembered.
That was the plan. Rona has been informed of this as well. She's unenthused, but willing.
As always.
As always.
Okay. And it didn't make sense to have the Hyperlands come and just like, shoot guns at the hole.
No, because, and I remember this too, Hyperlance is so sorium-y that these creatures are attracted to it. And if it were to stay even in orbit, they would probably swarm it. Although at this point, maybe it could, but either way.
Okay, yeah, let's go. I love this plan.
Cool. So I've narrowed it down to these 3 or 4 paths. We should just choose one and all go down it, I think.
So do you want me to send some of my constructs like down one hole or another to see if they follow?
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Wait, I think Aramis has something he wishes to say.
Oh.
If I remember correctly, I was just about to ask for a clarification from Greg about this. And it's interesting you talk about constructs, Zach, because I think they blew up when we escaped the mine, didn't they?
Maybe didn't blow up, but they...
I don't think they came with us because I don't think they survived.
Oh, they didn't survive.
It wasn't my idea.
To be clear, they weren't destroyed. We just kind of we used them. Sleepwell, you were so out of it. I'm not sure what was going on at the time. I'm glad you're back with us now, but we kind of used them to create a distraction for us and may or may not have left them behind. So they're not dead. In fact, as we escape the hive, we can probably go swoop in and pick them up again. They're probably all playing checkers right now.
I mean, they're tools, they're automatons. They don't have sentience or anything. I'm not really worried about that. Okay, just quickly out of game. We didn't have like 3 days to prepare, did we?
No, you didn't have that long. You got a long rest, but you didn't have 3 days.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have had a chance to reconstruct them. So, rewinding here. Sleepwell now says, should I create a little construct that we could send down one of the halls to see what they see? See if they set off any traps, fall into a honey trap or anything?
Yeah, if it would be quick.
Yes.
Okay. If we are all agreed then, I will use my Esper powers to generate an assault drone, rank 2.
Okay.
And the little drone that could is going to head down the first passageway that Kaz suggests.
Okay. And you were going to watch, so you're going to watch from your vantage point, basically, yes? As
I guess, we'll get on the sides of the hex entrance.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's like a honeycomb hex entrance.
It is, and they're they're good-sized hexes. Probably each of these hexes is like maybe 9 to 10 feet in diameter, basically. And they're just, many of them next to each other. So it's this massive hive. But one of the ones that Kaz has pointed out is low enough that you'll have to kind of like climb up, into it, but like scramble up into it. But you can basically do that. So you could make it so you could basically kind of peer, over the top and watch as you have one of yours going down there if you want.
Right, so I'll just give the assault drone a little boost there and put it up in there. And we'll watch it head down that hive passage.
Okay. It proceeds downwards at a regular pace and maybe about 100 feet down, so pretty good distance into the tunnel. You suddenly see this viscous yellow liquid that looks very much like the goop you're sitting in, like pour over the drone.
Oh.
And the drone like and just sort of slams to the ground, covered in this goop. Now I need you to make a, let's see, I guess you can make a dexterity saving throw for the drone, I guess. Okay. So let's have you do that.
I think it has
honeycomb cereal.
17.
Okay. So so you're like.
I'm sorry. 17 was the last roll.
Yeah, I was like.
Oh, so it's
I rolled an 11.
An 11. Okay. So it's just, and then you see it start to spark, and just sits there, gradually sinking into the goop.
Did we all see that?
Anyone who was looking into the tunnel, I think, would have seen that. So probably.
So I just turned to everybody. I'm like, that's why we have drones. That's why you give me 3 days to make 4 drones.
I look with my scope down that tunnel. Did it seem like that goop was just like maybe a result of the hive being shaken, and like that's just sort of loose material that dripped down?
Potentially.
Or did it seem like a creature like shot that out?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to tell for sure because you can't, obviously where you are, it was pretty far into the tunnel, so you can't see necessarily up, but it didn't look like, as it was sort of like it kind of started to drip and then like all at once, which almost seems like this is a common thing probably. There's goop, obviously, this honey-like substance everywhere, so presumably this stuff just kind of comes down naturally. So yeah, it probably just happened to be there at the time. It is possible that someone triggered it, but doesn't obviously look like that's what occurred.
Are there pieces of the ship that on the impact became a little loose? Like basically I'm looking for a panel of either like plastic or
I think you can find one of those. The freighter wasn't held together very strongly to begin with, this being, broken down Illustrian technology. So sure.
Right. So I'm going to just grab like a good, what's my wingspan? Like 4 feet. I'm just going to grab like a 4-foot chunk, square chunk, or a rectangle for Aramis's. And I'm just going to hand it to everybody. It's like, if we put this over our head, maybe we can avoid getting it gooped and we can kind of like steer the honey off of our heads.
And into each other. Love it. Great. I'm just kidding.
Please don't steer the honey into me. Yeah, but I'll just pass this around just thinking like, basically put up a shield that if the honey starts pouring around us, we can kind of redirect it and try to have better control over it.
Yeah, I'll find I have an actual shield.
I don't think you want to use your real shield though. Like if you get stuck or something.
Yeah, maybe you're right. All right, yeah, I find a loose panel as well.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Okay. So as you loot the Illustrian ship for panels. Okay. I think you're basically able to do that. And now you're holding this, now that you're holding it somewhat flimsy, like how exactly did this function as a hull anyway? These panels, you see, like made in, someplace. But anyway, so, and you're able to hold that above your heads if you wish. And then you have to climb, now you're going to have to climb up into the honey-coated floor, you have to, because you have to clamber up onto it, at which point you could then hold the thing above your head.
Right, yeah, so we'll kind of like do that. Maybe Petra, you'll go first because you're strong and you can boost the rest of us up and, kind of like as a relay team, put all the things up.
Okay.
And are you going now, as I said, it's about 10 feet in diameter. You could go 2x2. You could go single file. It's up to you.
I'll lag behind the group by maybe 10 feet or so. And be in the back.
I think single file might be a little bit safer, just less.
Yeah, why don't I lead and then I would suggest we have Aramis just a little bit back. And then Sleepwell being our healer, I would like him then, and then let's have Kaz in the back if that works for people.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be second just because Aramis, I think, doesn't quite have the armor class I do. So
that's true.
I can block, and also this way I can heal you if you get suddenly waylaid or something.
Rudnell points this out. Petra has the lowest dex, so if she gets slimed, you'll be behind her to push her clear. I suppose
that is exactly right.
Okay. Okay. So you're able to do that. Now, as you're going, are you... I'm not going to ask you if you're going to be stealthy. That's silly in this situation. But I am going to ask, are you going to be moving at, like, a rapid pace? Are you trying to almost, like, book it down the hallway? Or are you going to go at a normal speed? And are you looking forward or, like... I know you have your thing above your head, but are you looking kind of, like, up and around it at the ceiling? Or are you just eyes forward, you know, thing above your head and you're moving?
Yeah.
I am moving. I would suggest, and I will check this with the group first, that we not move at a pell-mell rush, but move at a measured pace, examining, like looking as we go, including the ceiling, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we lost a robot already, so we are alerted to the fact that this is dangerous as heck, so we're gonna go slow, I think, and constantly try to perceive traps using things like perception, which are skills that humanoids have. So to try to find things that might fall on our heads.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. So you make your way in. I would say about 50 feet in, I will ask everyone to make a perception check for me, please.
Okie dokie.
You're not jogging through knee-deep molasses. Well, yeah, basically. It'll be tremendous for the glute workout. No, I agree with that. It'll be big gains. Big gains. Okay. Surprising no one. Kaz with a 25. Aramis, on the other hand, is like with a 10. Sleepo with a 14. And Petra with the 18. Okay. Petra and Kaz, as you are making your way forward, and Petra, you are probably the first one to note this. You are, moving ahead, and you can see the bump in the floor about 50 feet in front of you, which signals the doomed drone, which is sitting there on the floor. And you hear a bloop, 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 like something bubbling around you. But as you look around, you don't see anything obvious, but it does seem to you as you look up, the entire walls of this tunnel seem somewhat opaque. And so there's a kind of golden light, which is clearly, it must be a regular kind of light coming from somewhere, but because of the yellow goop, it's got this golden glow that glows through, and you can see what looks like above you, it is getting darker, as if there is liquid gathering. And Kaz, you hear the same thing, and you can more clearly even see the sort of liquid gathering above your heads. And again, this does not look like any creature. You don't see any Xamarin, like, outline of a body or something. It's just the liquid is what it looks like.
So, question.
Sure.
At the pace that we're moving, like the liquid is accumulating, kind of like as we're moving, we're not sort of like leaving the accumulation behind because we are moving?
It seems to be almost as if the accumulation is building up starting from the back of the line and moving forward, as if it is gradually building up and sort of almost like a very slow motion, like flowing down, is almost as if there's a slight slant of the tunnel. And so it's kind of accumulating in towards the front of the line. It's gradually building up. It doesn't look like it's going to fall through the roof yet, but it's definitely building up.
Speed up and try and get through. I see a nod from Aramis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Sure.
you have to tell us. So you tell us that this is happening.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm telling you all and say I'm picking up pace because I want to get out from under that thing. Okay, and we will move faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still incredibly alertly. We're capable of
Of course. Yeah. No, I know.
Alertness.
Yes.
You're not just sort of running. I got you. So you pick up the pace, and of course your feet are tired from having not exhausted, but you feel the as you're trying to like move through this sticky goop on the tunnel floor. There is this moment as you get to the 100-foot mark where, if anyone has seen, and I hope you all have, it's the best Star Trek movie, Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. If any of you remember the sign of the dude who comes out onto the penal planet of Rurapente and freezes in about 2 seconds out there and is just frozen. Oh, yeah. That's what this droid looks like. This drone looks like, covered in honey as you sort of zip past it. Bloop, and you all the time like getting deeper and thicker sounding as you are continuing to move forward. at about 150 feet or so, you can see that about 50 feet in front of you, Petra, there is a large hexagonal room which is opening up in front of you. But the bloop, 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 bloop is going faster. And now you have a decision to make, which is you got 50 feet left. If you continue to kind of look up, I mean, I know you're trying to be perceptive in general. You can hear almost the bloop, bloop, and you can see what almost looks like the top of the ceiling is starting to bow a little bit under the weight. So you're running out of time. So the question is how you want to handle this. Now, you might make it out anyway at this pace. You don't know how much the roof of this thing can hold, but
we're going a little bit faster.
Yes. Oh, than you were before. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask everybody then to make for me an athletics check if you have it. If not, I'll take strength.
Yeah. Can I possibly have at the ready, I have a spell called Quick Step that allows me to give someone an additional 10 feet of to their movement speed.
Yes.
Can I try to do that reactively? Like if I see one of us start to trip up, I can run up to them and then cast it on them?
Yes, with the following proviso. Doing that is going to slow you down.
Okay. Do I have time to cast it on myself and then do that? 12 seconds.
Maybe.
Problem maybe.
I was trying to somewhere between problematical. It's like I don't know why I'm giving all these references tonight because I've been on a sci-fi kick lately. So at one point in the incredible episode, The Changeling, they're getting attacked by this constant laser beams. And at one point, Kirk is like, there's a big laser beam, photon torpedo type thing heading towards him. And Kirk is like, can we take it, Mr. Scott? And he's like, that's problematical, Captain. So that's problematical. Maybe, but it's going to be close.
I will take that risk of me being slow so that I can then cast Quick Step on.
Okay.
It looks like some people are going to need it already.
Yeah, well, Petra's not going to have a problem. Petra, you're able to get the rest of the way without any difficulty. Sleepwell with somewhat more difficulty. No, wait. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong number. You had a 2? Is that?
That's correct.
I see. All right. Let me find out what Kaz did for his.
So this is a strength save.
This is not a save. This would be an athletics check if you have it, or if not, just a strength check.
All right, I'll do athletics.
He hates, right, Haruno? Problematical.
12.
Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the success story that Petra had. Petra's just fine. But everyone else is in a little bit of trouble, and in particularly Aramis and Sleepwell. Both of you are sort of dragged down as you're pushing forward, and you're, a little bit of this sort of weight of the panel, although it's not that heavy, but it pushes you a little bit, and you're trying to balance it, and bloop, 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 and you can see now as you look, Kaz, there are a couple of drips of this goop starting to fall on the panels that are being held above their heads. Aramis and Sleepwell do not look like they're going to make it under current circumstances.
Do I get the feeling even if I were to cast Quick Step, or would that make a difference?
It might make a difference for one of them.
Yeah, I'll cast it on Sleepwell then.
Okay, so you do, and Sleepwell, probably not knowing what's going on, all of a sudden, Sleepwell, you feel great speed, like you've got your second wind, and you're just like, wow! Yeah, exactly. You're just like, let's book it. Suddenly, Speed Cat. So you and Petra now, you emerge into the hexagonal room, Sleepwell right behind you, and you're like, that's great. And then you're like, wait, why are you right behind me? And looking around, you can see Kaz and Aramis as the roof opens up in the tunnel on Aramis and Kaz. No. So I need both of the two of you to make dexterity saving throws for me, please.
Now, let me just ask.
Yes.
Did the panel actually help?
Yes, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Yes, it will have. Depending on how these things go, but yes.
All right.
Do we get a reaction to this?
Depends on the reaction.
Casting phase shift.
Phase shift.
Wow.
Something I have been holding on to and not really used in any particular case.
Oh, no, you mean... Oh, I'm completely wrong. I love it. Yes. It's a bonus action and it's instant. Yes, you could cast that.
Nice.
So Kaz runs up. So you were doing on Sleepwell, right? So Sleepwell, you booked it out. And Aramis, you're like, whoosh. So you managed to, with that, I think, get out of the way just as the stuff falls, which means the person it hits is Kaz. So I need Kaz to make this dexterity saving throw for me.
Okay, here we go. Hey, that's pretty good.
Very nice. Okay, you were able to basically duck as this like hits you. So this massive glob of goop hits you just to the left. You like, or hits right next to you, I should say, and you kind of dodge out of the way. Now, what are you doing at this point? Because it's half deflected by the panel that you had above your head. You still got another 50 feet-ish to go.
Oh, man.
Maybe 40.
Do I feel like more of it is falling ahead of me?
All around you, really.
Okay. Well, yeah, in this moment, I think I'll cast Quick Step on myself then.
Okay. I will allow you to do that. I'm going to need you, as this is happening, I'm going to need you to make a Constitution saving throw, because more of this stuff, because to cast it, Kaz, you're probably going to have to put down the panel.
Sure. Yeah, which I would have had to do for the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
In that case anyway.
So, okay, so I'm going to need you to make a Constitution saving throw as more of this goop is hitting you to see whether or not you can get this off.
That's another 12.
I would say not, but you're not completely covered by it. I will give you a chance to make an athletics check to see if you can scrape some of this off. More of it is coming, but... And all of you are just sort of horrified at the tunnel, like watching as he's like...
1T.
That's pretty good. Okay, so you get enough of it off of you that you're then able to like stumble forward. Now, do you want to take time to try to do this quick step again, or do you want to see if you can make it the rest of the way?
Well,
about 35 feet now, roughly.
That's true, because let me see if it's an action.
And if anyone of the three of you have something you want to like... let's just throw the...
I have another idea.
Okay. Yeah, you tell me, and I don't... You folks are not helpless. You can...
I'm looking up Quick Step real quick to see what action economy it uses. It is... Oh, it's an action. So technically, it would be faster for me to dash than it would be to spend the action to...
Right.
Which actually, I forgot. As a hunter, I can dash as a bonus action. So
that's useful.
I'm gonna dash for all three of my, my movement, action, and bonus. I'm just gonna full out, put the Bellare suit into overdrive. And
I will ask you to make one final athletics check for me, please, and/or strength at the very end of this.
Okay. My number of the day
is a 12. The good news for you, though, is that because you had this running, it's actually not as difficult. So you all see Kaz, like, legs churning, you hear only some people here will remember that, Zach.
Yes.
But anyway, you managed to go, and Kaz literally throws himself out as this massive, like, thing of goop just lands in the tunnel and gradually sort of drips out. Half the tunnel now seems to be obscured by this goop.
Awesome.
But you are now all in the room, which has got some goop, but not that much relative to that.
Great.
So you're here.
Yeah, so after the fact, I kind of after the fact, I was able to put together sort of like what happened. I was like, Kaz, thank you so much. You put yourself at risk for us all the time. And that was just amazing and selfless, and well, thank you.
Wow. Thanks. When you spaced out back in the factory, did you have like a change of heart or something? Maybe not a change of heart. You've always been kind of, Anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
Make a compliment, man.
I'm sorry. I pat you very robotically on the shoulder. Thank you. Now, where in the galaxy are we?
Yeah.
I look at the room.
You are in a large hexagonal room, there is a tunnel, one tunnel out of here as opposed to 100 that leads off to the north. But the tunnel's entrance is covered by a thick membrane. And on that membrane is the image of a pyramid, which is made out of hexagons and 5 hexagons beneath it. And even stranger, most of the hexagons in the pyramid have numbers written in them. I'm going to pull up a map for all of us here. Right now we're on the pit map, but ignore this part, chat. We're not actually in a pit. But I am going to show everyone a handout. Not that one.
Lovely.
You already saw that one. And I have now shown it. I think you should all be able to see it in Roll20 and also on stream.
I don't see it in Roll20.
Okay. I can go back and
make it available to us or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think I thought I did do that. I think I put it on show to players. Still not? All right.
Womp, womp.
Let's try now.
I can see it on Twitch.
Now I see it.
Okay, now I hope you have all of it.
No.
I see
No.
it. If you guys go to the
Yeah.
if you go to the journal or the newspaper icon in Roll20 in the top right,
Yeah.
click that and then go to handouts.
Ah, clear handout. Got it. Okay.
So that is what you see.
Okay.
So the first thing, I'm gonna see if I recognize the handwriting. Does it seem like something Aramis might have left behind?
It looks to be printed, in fact, or etched somehow, but not written, handwritten.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, this is the first time, obviously, there's many hexagons in this place, but you have obviously not seen numbers before. This seems very strange to you.
Yeah. Like, is this some sort of, like, logic puzzle? I say to everybody out loud.
What demonic insect queen designed this? I approach the wall.
Okay.
And would immediately I just touch the hexagon that has the number 2 on it.
Okay. It sort of kind of glows slightly, but nothing else happens.
It does glow, though.
Slightly.
I press number 3.
Also glows slightly.
Slightly more? Like one
No,
more?
same amount. And the same amount. And also when you touch the 3, the 2 stops glowing as well.
I see.
Oh, shit.
This is great. Maybe we should just try to shoot it. I back up.
Yeah, so it's a membrane. I am
We
gonna
don't have
actually
time
test
for
the
this.
membrane a little bit. I'm gonna, take out my electro necro staff and kind of like poke at it.
Okay. It seems so. It is definitely a membrane. So it's slightly, it gives slightly below beneath the pressure that you provide, but it seems extremely tough. Like it's possible maybe that it could be pierced, maybe, but it seems extremely, extremely tough.
Aramis is going to walk up next to Kaz and touch the corner link one at the bottom and sees what happens.
So when you touch that one, it glows like the others do, and again the others, the last one that you touched before stops glowing. However, this one, the outline of it glows. So not the entire hexagon, but just the outline around the hexagon.
Aramis is then going to draw a 1.
You're a genius.
Going to draw a 1. So when you draw a 1 and the notes that are clearly available are discovered by everyone who's right there at that moment. Okay. When you do that, the entire hexagon glows, like pulses, and then the entire bottom row glows.
I never took math in Bolare school. because there is no such thing. So I'm going to leave this to
Math
you.
or Bellari school?
So I turned to Aramis. Was like, that looks right. What did you do?
Following Falcon's maze. And immediately go to the other side, next to the 12, and write 36.
Have you played this game before?
When you write 36, you put it in there, and the hexagon glows for a minute, and then the 36 fades, and just the glow, just the outline around that blank hexagon remains.
So you haven't. What?
Yeah, like how did you get one?
Well, that one I only know a few numbers, but in the bottom row, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're out of order. That makes sense. 1, 5, 3, 4, 2, but then the next ones.
Oh, is it adding 7 to it? So like 5 and 7 is 12? No, that doesn't work.
Aramis tries 22.
Again, glow, and then the number fades.
But the first row is still lit?
Yes.
Okay. So we just need to keep plugging in numbers till we get to the stupid thing, right?
Right, but there's some logical sequence that we're missing here.
I did not take Bellari math class, but I did pay attention
try
once.
8.
Yeah.
Try 8.
Yep.
Is someone doing 8?
I'm doing 8.
So when you do 8, it glows, and then the second row lights up.
Something to do with multiplying the...
It was whatever was underneath it.
Yeah, 4 and 2 is 8.
Yeah.
Multiplied. So does that mean
12 times 8 is 96? But that doesn't look right compared to the other ones.
do it?
All right, I'll try 96.
Glow, and then the number fades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Why did 8 work? 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 3.
Because 4 times 2 is 8.
Yeah, it's
It's whatever is underneath it.
Yeah,
But
Right,
then
but 12 times 8 is 96, and that didn't work.
yeah,
because the next row is not multiplication.
maybe. Oh. What is it then? 5 and
So if we look at 5 and 15, 5 minus 15, or 15 minus 5 is 10.
yeah.
But
then
that
the
doesn't
next-
work for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 12 minus 8 would be 4. We could try 4.
Try it.
Try 4.
And this
Okay,
again is
says-
the third row all the way to the right, right? You're doing
Yeah.
now?
There's 10, the 17, and the 4.
Okay, so again, glow, and then the number fades.
All right, and I'll try the one above it. I'll put 4 in there, too.
Also glow, and in fact, the other one, it doesn't even glow. Like, it doesn't even, like,
'Cause it's not
outline.
Yeah, I was just seeing, like,
Yep.
the mechanics of this. All right, so I'm going to put in 22.
Glow and then fade.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I did the math wrong. Put in 24 there.
24 glows and then fades again.
Okay. Darn.
Kaz is going to turn around, and while they're doing this, he's going to scope out the hive and make sure nothing's coming to attack them or anything.
Yeah,
He's
as
gonna
you
be
make a
on watch.
perception check, Cause, for me while you're doing that.
Sure. $26.
Yeah, the thing that I want to point out is that there is no buzzing in here that you can hear. Again, that muffling sensation that I mentioned is much worse, as if your senses themselves have been dulled. Nothing moves or stirs except for the occasional bloop bloop from the tunnels, but that's it. It feels too quiet, basically.
Yeah, I keep one metaphorical eye on the puzzle and the other on the chamber.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm just going to keep trying numbers until somebody jumps in. Try
Try
5.
3.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Try 3, Carlos. Or someone try 3, or
Sure,
I'll
I'll
try
put
3.
in 3. Put in 3.
3, just pulse and then vanishes.
Try 5.
Again, pulse vanish.
All right, so at this point, I'm gonna try to brute force it till somebody comes up with a better idea.
Hold on.
gonna just
Brute forcing
go-
is not going to work for us though.
Well, because if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we don't see any number above 20 right now, we might as well just run through the numbers, right?
Right, but why is 5 repeated twice? Because
I
it's
mean,
not
literally don't know, but that's why brute force.
Well, actually, because it's 1 times 5 equals 5. 3 times 5 equals 15. 3 times 4 equals 12. 4 times 2 equals 8. The next row, we need to figure out what the essentially the approach is, the equation that we need to do to get that right there. If we can figure out what that is rather than brute forcing it, I don't think it's a matter of it calling it 20 or 1 through 20 or whatever. It's something else. So if we can just figure out why, because if you do 5 and 15, 15 minus 5 equals 10, but that doesn't work out for 15 minus 12 or 12 minus 15.
It
Why are we
does if
getting
you
7?
add 10 to it. So maybe there has to be a 1 in front of it. So what about 14 there? So yeah, 15 minus 5 is 10. 15 minus 12, oh, I guess it's 3. Yeah, I don't.
Right, because it would be if you're adding 10 to that, then it would be 27 minus 10.
Right.
So
maybe that's what it is. It has to have a 1 in front of it. So what if it's 12 minus 8 is 4, but we call it 14?
Oh, try 10.
Okay.
10 work?
When you put in 10, it glows, and then the whole line
Okay.
Yes.
lights up.
How'd you do that?
So the 10 is from 15 minus. How did I get it? Jesus. Oh, it's underneath the 10, it adds up to 20, and 20 minus 10. And then the other one adds up to 27, and 27 minus 10 is 17. And then the other one is a 12 and an 8, which adds to 20, so it had to be a 10.
I see.
Got it. Really interesting. Okay, so you're right, folks. We just figure out the system.
Just got one more.
So 27 is below the 9.
Yeah. In some,
But so yeah, and the 16 I guess is a hint too. So like 9 and 7 is 16. 10, 17, 7. I mean, I'll just try putting in a 7 for our first guess.
And just pulse and then fade.
Nothing, okay.
Kaz will walk over and put in 13 in the top one.
And pulse and fade.
Ah, let's see. Wouldn't that have been so cool if I just guessed the right number?
Yeah.
I step back and continue looking through my scope.
I'll put in 16.
Pulse and fade.
That was 27 minus 9, just so you know what I was trying there.
Yeah.
Brian, 8.
Try which? Sorry.
An 8.
Pulse fade.
Try 9.
When you put in 9, it lights, and then the row lights, and then the pyramid lights, and then the membrane basically splits and pulls to the side. So that it splits into two sides.
Hooray!
Nice.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Who knew space bugs are fans of mathematical puzzles?
Yeah.
You've seen nothing to suggest anything else number-driven by these creatures, by the way.
Yeah, this is super weird, but maybe Aramis made a little pocket space within him, and this is how he sealed himself off. I'm just going to be super optimistic this time.
He wouldn't tell us about something like that, now would he?
No. I mean,
No.
will you, Kaz, do me the favor of taking your mighty scope and looking through the vaginal-like opening that has been created in the membrane?
Sure. I do.
Yonic.
So, as you are looking down this area, you can see that the door leads to what looks like essentially a hallway. But this hallway seems to slope fairly steeply downwards. Now, not like where, you're just like, you're going to fall down a slide. Doesn't look like that. But it definitely seems to be leading down somewhere. And at the end of it, you can see what looks like more of a golden glow. A bright enough glow that you can't really see what's in it. Just that there's a glow at the end of this descending hallway beyond the door.
I assume, Kaz, you say this to us?
I do.
So how far is the glow from us?
It is probably about 100 feet. Maybe a little more. The tunnel is probably about 100 feet, so maybe 130, 140.
Does it look like we're going to run into the same gloopy gloop problem?
No, this does not look like it has stuff above it. No.
All right.
Excellent. I like that.
Well, should we just marshal forward like we did the last one?
But
We
how?
will go forward, but we... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, how much range does your scope normally have?
A lot. Like hundreds of feet.
Yeah.
Over 1,000.
The glow overrides it at a certain point, where it's so bright you can't really see through it.
So yeah, like Pulp Fiction kind of.
Type it exactly like basically lens flare from any J.J. Abrams film.
Where's the explosion?
Yeah, I know. It's coming. I mean,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
it totally
yeah.
isn't.
It happened.
Right.
So we'll push forward, but we're going to go back to our slower, more cautious pace.
Okay. Are you doing the same order that you did before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you step into this tunnel. You notice that there's considerably less of the goop in here. There is some, but not nearly as much. And as you make your way down here, you also note that the very little goop that there seems to be much less traffic down this hallway, basically. That there has not been a lot that have moved down this hall for whatever that reason might be. And you continue down this tunnel, and as you get to the end of it, Petra, you stop because you are now looking at what is clearly a now bizarre alien landscape, but the room you're looking at clearly did not start as a hive. There are sticky organic membranes stretching over a room that is filled with old stone pews. And in certain places, there are basically arches from the pillars that connect the floor of the room to the ceiling of it, and then arch up. And as you look up, you can see this sort of literally cathedral-style ceiling above you. But it is now covered with goop and stuff dripping down the walls, and things like that. And you can see bulbous protrusions that are sticking off of the arches that clearly don't belong there, and that sort of thing. But the pews and everything else, there's no way that these were made by the Xanaman, the Zamarin creatures, as you're here. At the far end of the room, so you're on one side looking out into this space, and at the far end of the room, rising out of the goop and the muck, there is a pulpit. And on the top of the pulpit is a glowing item, so bright you have to almost shield your eyes for a minute, Petra, to kind of get a sense of it. Now all the rest of you have come up and can see it. It looks to be a massive set of armor, and in the center of the armor is this glowing, intensely white-hot, looking glowing from the armor itself. And next to it are two massive bug-like creatures that are standing next to it, literally on either side of it, and another one hovering above with its needle-like stinger pointed in your general direction.
Yikes.
And I think that's actually a good spot to take our break, because I have a feeling we're leading up to something. So you are looking at this thing, and we are going to take our break while the party thinks about how to get themselves out of a predicament. Welcome to the center of the hive. Before we go any further, we're going to take a little bit of a break, just about 5 minutes here. You are here with me, chat, watching the incredible crew of Esper Genesis, Shadow of the Zephyr, as we play Aftermath with Johnny Pittman, with Cat Rambo, with Carlos Hernandez, and with Zach Clay. And we will be back here in just about 5 minutes. And you can decide, chat, if you have any other math puzzles you want to throw their way. But we'll be right back to you folks in about 5
Don't
minutes.
decide that, chat.
Hang tight.
Not against that, chat.
Hang tight. Okay. So, welcome back, everyone. I am desperately trying to avoid making jokes about being in a sticky situation and the like. But we are here with the incredible Esper Genesis crew as we have come to at least the heart of this place in day 77 of Esper Genesis Aftermath. And I actually do have a map for these folks, which I will reveal to them now as I bring the chat over and I bring you folks over to this. This is the inner hive, or at least what they appear to have made of the inner hive. And you can see here that you folks are here, right at the entrance over in this spot. And then you've got over here are these, again, pews, which are covered with this goopy honey substance. And most of the stone floor has got goop and, honeyish stuff here as well. And then you have the altar over here. And you have these three very large creatures, as I mentioned. These two are just seem to be landbound. They don't have wings, any obvious wings down here. But they look impressive and large creatures, at least as tall as Kaz is. And then over here is one which is flying in the air. Now, it does not appear to have seen you yet as you were sort of peering out from over here. But it might not be long before they happen to spot you. And again, this brightly glowing armor over here.
So when Kaz spotted this, what he spotted was the entrance to this that was just totally aglow with what was going on here.
That's right. That's right. Okay. And the glow is everywhere in this chamber, reflecting off of the goop, basically. And as you sort of look down and your eyes adjust, you can still see it, although this is almost too bright to look upon, almost.
So, I know we don't have a lot of time for conversation, but just like pretend we do. And I say to
You have a little bit of time, depending on how you do it.
Yeah, I basically say to everybody, okay, so just because I kind of like had a moment back in the other place and I can't quite remember, did we decide that these were creatures that we should show mercy to and should be kindly to and to try to negotiate with?
We have not been treating them in that manner, no.
Yeah, no.
I
So-
don't know that we talked a lot and kind of weighed the pros and cons of, but generally we've been on the kind of smashed rather than talk path.
I'd be willing to give the talk a shot, but probably not me because while someone else gives talking a shot, I will be giving a shot in case we need.
Well,
So.
because I'm thinking, like, right now, we're in a hallway that isn't covered with honey. If we could lure them into this, we'll have control over sort of like the situation a little bit more. You know,
That's
like we could
true.
You know, like that place looks terrible for us.
Yes.
Good for them. And this place is much better for us, and we can maybe try to control them. So, like, should we try to lure them over here?
I think that's even just like, having a choke point where especially those two larger guys can't get to us.
Right.
I have a question for the game master,
Okay.
Uh-oh.
which is, in looking at the armor, does that look like armor that might come to life and start attacking us, or does it look perfectly still?
It looks at the moment perfectly still. But now that you were looking more closely and you asked me about that specifically, Petra, I would like you to make a perception check for me, please.
Okay.
This would be a great time for inspiration. I'm just saying, like,
Yes, there is inspiration. Although, you know what's going to happen, though? Chat used a few of these earlier, and I can imagine Chat being like, listen, Arvcon's going up. If we don't
Yeah.
save, you're,
Oh dear.
you're like, Petra, you think it's armor? I mean, you think you've seen armor?
Yeah, I
No,
think
I'm joking. But it
Really
does
is
not
armor.
look like it is inhabited by anything. And in fact, I think I may even have, well, not with a perception check like that, actually. But because it is also, of course, very brightly glowing. Again,
Yeah.
coming from this light at the center.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to figure out if does it seem like there's one in the armor?
I will ask you to make a perception check for me. I do want to point out, now you're allowed to do this. I'm not going to, but every time you do this, there is, and you haven't passed that threshold yet, fear not, but there is a risk of being seen as you peer out. But that said, you can certainly do this here because they have not seen you yet.
While Sleepwell's doing that, I'm going to cast Dimensional Pocket
Nice.
where I am standing.
Okay.
So for 1 hour, we have our little private room.
That is awesome.
Let's see.
Of our lives, 13.
So it does now again, it's hard to see Sleepwell, but it looks like and in fact I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture a little bit but not much of what you see based upon that check. So I will show you a little bit of one side of it.
Okay.
All right, give me just 1 second here as I do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Showing on stream.
I'm going to be showing this on stream right now. You're able to see one side of it. Now, so I'm showing you a representation basically as you look at it of kind of the right side of it. The center, the part that you can't see, is so bright that it's kind of obscured. But it looks a little oddly familiar to you somehow, Sleepwell, although you're not sure why. Good night, Hilmus. But it does not look like anyone is in it that you can tell as of yet, though, as I say, you can't see the whole thing.
As of yet.
It looks oddly familiar.
Yes.
Like, so, I mean, is it looking specifically like an Alfred?
No, does not look at all like an Alfred.
Okay, okay. Okay, so we have a pocket dimension. So very quickly I say, okay, so do we try to shoot the bugs, lure them here, get in the pocket dimension, take pot shots at them?
I don't know if it'll work like that. You can look out of the pocket dimension, but you can't like hang out of it.
Yeah.
You're either in or out.
Right, but you can pop out, and you as a bonus action can pop back in.
It's an action to get back in. Whatever an action is.
And just out of game, just like very, very logically, because you could take a bonus action to dash, right?
I could, but very specifically it says exiting the dimensional pocket takes an action, and but yeah, exiting takes an action, but if you wish to enter, you can stand directly below it, and then as a free action you can enter.
So basically, action to get out, bonus action take a shot because you can do an attack on your bonus action. Zip back
with my pistol. Yeah,
I mean, it'll take a while, but we got this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Suddenly this is how I defeated all the bosses in Arx Fatalis.
Yeah.
And, let me just be clear.
Just
pew, pew,
vamping
pew,
in and
5
out.
hours later.
I mean, it is here. I might do that a couple times, sure, especially if things look rough, but...
Well, and also, I can run up with people to heal them and stuff, so...
Yeah.
I can also cast a toxic cloud that will lure them here, so...
Sure.
How big is this? How big are these individual, like, bugs that we're dealing with?
These are large creatures, probably about 6.5 to 7 feet in height.
Yikes.
They're big, yeah.
How tall is the tunnel?
The tunnel is about 10 feet. Maybe slightly larger, but around 10 feet in diameter. And by the way, each of these squares on this map is 5 feet.
So you have to willingly choose to go into the dimensional pocket, right?
Well, technically, it says the space can be reached by standing directly below the entrance, which I currently am. And then it says, by standing directly below the entrance, which transports them into the space. It can transport one creature at a time. So technically, you watch as I disappear into it, and then I come back out. Technically, I don't stand under it. If you stand under it, it brings you up automatically, technically. So I step to the side, technically. Yeah.
Aramis steps under it, but does not think about actually going into the dimensional space.
So that's up to the DM then.
Because
the wording says you create an invisible entrance up to 60 feet in the air directly above you, so I'd probably just put it at the height of the ceiling.
Right.
Opens to an extra dimensional space that lasts for an hour. It's invisible. The extra dimensional space can be reached by standing directly below the entrance, which transports them into the space. It can transport one creature at a time. Exiting takes an action and returns a creature to the same spot. You can use an action to seal the entrance. Any attempt to exit by anyone inside reopens the entrance.
It sounds like if you go underneath, it is automatic. Because you're going underneath. I mean, you can get out of it immediately again too, obviously. But it sounds like that's how you're doing it. Is not willing yourself into it, but being brought up into it.
Yeah.
You have to will yourself out of it.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So me stepping under it, regardless of the fact that I did not want to go up there, I find myself in the dimensional pocket.
Yes.
Yep.
Aramis wills himself back out and says, "Anybody seen Ghostbusters?"
What?
No.
Do you guys not watch anything that I suggest on that list of
look,
like old...
I'm still on the Indiana Jones series, okay? Let's take a while to get through.
Long story short, seems like we might be able to use this as a trap, even if temporarily.
Yeah. Well, it can only hold medium creatures. So probably not.
Well,
Look, sometimes you just gotta. How many fights have we done in the orthodox sense? Just straight up, Petra charges in, hammer.
Or Petra throws grenades. This is like really great surprise grenade time. Just saying.
Do you all want me to? You all were saying something about the armor. I'm afraid to look through the scope because of how bright it is, but you want me to try to look at it?
Yes.
Yeah, we want to figure out if there's somebody in there or something we can put on. Maybe it's for Petra.
I'll give my one perception check here.
Okay.
That's a 25.
Woo!
When you do that, you are able to see much more of it. And I'm going to show you how much more. How much more is it?
How much more?
You are able to see... Okay.
Ridiculous. Your perception is so high.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
What I get for taking a level in specialist.
Okay. You're able to see, and I'm going to bring this up on stream. You're able to see this, Kaz. And not only do you, and you can see the glow is coming from this thing at the center of the chest, but it's more than that, Kaz. Because this looks to you like a Bellare exosuit, an ancient one.
It does it. Now, depicted in this picture, it doesn't seem to have a helmet or head.
Correct. Does not.
Does it in reality?
It does not.
I lower the scope slowly. That's a Bellare suit.
What?
Oh,
It's a Bellare suit. And I tap my own metal chest piece.
And now, Sleepwell, seeing that, you're like, now you kind of are like, this is the familiarity part, because you do see some elements of it. I mean, it's what he's describing. It looks much older than Kaz's suit, but you can certainly see the resemblance.
So now I turn to Kaz, like, wait, is there a living Bellare inside of that suit right now?
Not that I saw, right?
No, that you don't think so.
What? And the glow is like, can I see? Oh, the glow is
from that blue
an orb.
From some kind of orb, and it's not a. It's actually it's depicted as blue, but it really is kind of a blinding white light that's coming from it.
All right, so hear me out, Kaz.
Yeah.
This is ludicrous, but I wonder if there's a way to make it less ludicrous as we think about it together.
Mm-hmm. I already know
what
what you're gonna say.
Okay, so we take Jello.
No, never mind.
Well, I think you probably do know what I'm gonna say. Like, what if you drifted out of your suit and drifted into that one?
Yeah.
Like, just drifted into it
Ugh.
and became the queen bee.
I don't know. I'm curious to know why they're so fixated on this thing, but regardless of that, that might work. The only problem that I see is every Bellare suit is made specifically for the Bellare that is housed in it. So at least with modern suits, I can't just go up to another Bellare and we can't swap, at least with the ones that are made now.
Okay.
By our people, but this one, who knows? I could do it.
DM,
yes.
What I would like to do, please, is use my jury rig power. This is the one where I get to roll, and if I roll that 10%, I get like a grand inspiration and understand like suddenly how things can work.
Like the divine intervention level
It's
thing?
exactly it. It's divine intervention.
Yes, that's true. And I want to double check this quickly.
I'm level 10, so it's 10% chance.
Yes.
MS also has something after sleep.
Because this is not going to work. Like, it's shitty.
Okay. This is coming out of, this is not a power, right? This is coming out of your feature. Your
It's a class feature, yeah.
Yeah. Man, it would be really interesting if that ended up happening. As you're thinking about this, communing with your rig to devise some form of aid, you describe the assistance you seek. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to basically figure out how we can suddenly use this suit to solve all of our problems.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's 10%. This isn't really something you could inspire, right?
No, this one I'm not going to allow an inspiration on.
All right. Well, here it is.
No.
Great.
Yeah, sadly no. You know, as you look at it, you know, you kind of are like, yes, and then you're like, no, that was how to solve the puzzle back at the last. I don't know.
Sibyl finally understands why the last column was 9.
You're like, oh, that's why. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. One thing that I do want to point out, though, as everyone is sort of looking at it, and again, these creatures are, this creature is floating around, is that all of you feel a kind of electric charge in your skin, almost. Sleepwell, the hairs on your fur is sort of standing up slightly. Aramis and Petra, you feel yourselves sort of kind of almost again as if there was a slight electrical charge kind of running along your skin. And Kaz, you obviously feel almost this kind of pull. It's an intense kind of resonance, as if all of you were feeling part of some larger whole, is the way you would describe it. You've all felt something like this before, but never this strongly.
Like in a religious sense, do you mean?
No, in an Esper sense. You
Oh.
feel intensely powerful. So much so that you almost are a little like, whoa, like, have to kind of clear your heads of it. Not where you're overwhelmed and stagger out like zombies, but you can feel it.
Aramis wants to do some things.
Okay.
Instead of doing a perception check, I would like to use a lore check and focus on everything in the room, not just the suit, but the pews and everything else. And try to see if any part of it is familiar to me.
Okay. Let's go with lore then.
I'll try 20.
The vision that you had back in the factory, Aramis, there were some reminders of this. You might remember the glow in particular that I had mentioned, that you had felt, that you had almost seen, visualized. And this for a moment feels like that. As you look at this armor and as you look at this sort of this powerful, overwhelming glow, something about this, Aramis, says home to you. Now, before I go too far with that point, it's not clear to you. You've never had anyone be like, I was born on a strange planet called Illustria. It's not that exactly. It just feels like a familiar sensation, like you have been exposed to this before. And I would say that sense of deja vu really flows in all of you to a greater or lesser degree. But Aramis, since you're kind of focusing on it particularly, there is something which feels familiar, and by familiar I mean in line with the visions that you've had since arriving on this planet.
Aramis turns to Petra. Does this feel familiar to you?
The suit or the situation?
Everything. Go
There's
ahead. A vibe, there's a permeated energy here.
I'm feeling the energy, this powerful energy that's moving through us, certainly, but it doesn't feel familiar to me.
I mean, it feels like Esper, right?
Right, but it's more than that. Ashen Forged are created, not born. We are created from things that were born, but we are created. And I can't put my finger on it. But for me, it feels more like that. Here.
Interesting.
The same energy that might have been used to create us, not just Esper, but I don't know how to describe it. It's like feeling like you're home.
And Petra will pause and just check to mentally see if she feels this as well. Does she?
I would like you to make not lore. Let me have you make an insight check for me, please, Petra. Wisdom driven, this one.
An insight check on yourself.
Yes. You realize that your life is a lie. No.
12.
Well, I mean.
This doesn't have the sensation of home, Petra, but it does have a sensation of... It does feel faintly like you've had this conversation with Aramis before.
Oh.
In fact, as you're speaking with him, there's a moment where you're almost imagining yourself having the deja vu, but imagining the conversation with him proceeding in this way.
I take it back. Actually, this is seeming startlingly familiar, as though we've stood here before having this very same conversation.
Yeah, not the idea of the armor feeling like home, by the way, but just like you and him having this convo.
Wow.
Kaz and Sleeple, are you feeling any odd sensations? Familiarity? Being drawn? I don't know. This seems very odd.
Are we?
Correct. I'm assuming not.
Kaz, not in the same way, although maybe. Actually, let me have both of the two of you make insight checks. Let's see how much you may or may not feel anything.
21,
and then Sleepo with a 12.
No, I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, beg your pardon.
Sorry. Just need to get to the right place here.
I'll come back to you in a sec, Kaz.
Sure. 19.
The sensation that you have, Sleepwell, I'll start with you, is not exactly one of familiarity. It is more one of possibility. As you look into the room, there is a moment where you almost can visualize yourself doing multiple things. Running towards the armor, running away from it, pushing your party members, your friends out of the way, throwing yourself into attack against the creatures, against the Zamarin, diving underneath the pew and weeping. And for a moment, all of these parallel moments sort of appear before you for a second and then vanish.
Fascinating. Wow.
I think
and I'll come to Kaz in a second, but go ahead, Sleeple.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what this means, but I'm gonna try to lean into it. I'm gonna try to sort of like push myself into a place where I want to be able to see more into the multiverse of possibilities that's going on here.
Okay. Give me a sense of how you want to do that physically. Like, what is that going to look like?
Well, I'm gonna just sort of like get down on my knees, concentrate, tip myself forward, and maybe like there looks like to be just like a little 2-foot gap before they would be able to sort of like see us.
Yes.
Like if I'm pressed up against the wall.
Yes.
I'm just gonna put a couple of my little claws just on the other side of that so I can touch the floor there.
Okay. I will come back to that in a minute. Kaz, you have not this sense of home or familiarity or whatever. Your feeling is as if you are in an awe-inspiring temple in which your ancestors of 1,000 years and more are standing before you, as if you were in a Bellare temple of light. Now, this clearly is not. There's nothing in your history to suggest that Bellare hang out in stone pews, and it doesn't make any sense. That's not what they would do. But this feels like a holy place somehow. So I want to point out that all of these experiences you're all having are happening simultaneous to each other. So in the way that I've described. So, take that for what you will. And I'm going to, Sleep, I'll come to you, and then I want to come back to Aramis and Petra, and you can tell me what you want to do one way or the other. And Kaz, for that matter. Sleepwell, when you sort of kneel down and kind of, touch the floor, you again have this momentary, rush of image of now there's one image of you on all fours galloping across to one of the other pews. And there's another one where you rise up and shout. And there's another one where you pull yourself around the wall and growl a challenge. And you can almost in this hear, in the sort of dream sense where you sort of can hear yourself but also can't, if you know what I mean. And you can hear yourself calling for your mentor, agonizing. And there is one moment you have where you are running towards the altar, screaming his name.
And this is it feels like it's real, right?
Yes, not so much that you're going to lose control, but yes, it feels like these are real options available to you. Or that they're things that are happening or could happen if you chose.
I'm going to recoil a little bit frightened, and say, sleep well. And just sort of look at the others to see what's going on with them.
So I'm sorry, say that again. You said sleep well towards...
Right, because that's my mentor. So I just kind of whispered.
Right. So you and all the three of you, the other three of you hear, sleep well say, sleep well. And each one of the figures in these different realities that you've just seen, these possibilities, all say, sleep well, and look back at you at the same time.
Whoa.
I mean, I am all the way freaked.
No, while you're freaking out about that, let me ask Aramis and Petra what's going on with you two, with your experience relative to what it is. Petra, you have this deja vu about you and Aramis's conversation, and Aramis, you have this experience of this feeling of home.
Did I get a localized sense of where this feeling of home is coming from?
From the altar, and specifically from the armor, almost certainly, although the entire room radiates it. But it seems to be coming most of all from the armor.
I think it's clear that we have to get closer to that armor in some way. There's something odd going on, and it's at the heart of this.
We're not going to survive a fight. Meaning, whatever's going on for us is going to alter the situation. And if we get into a fight, I think, I can't be clear, but I don't think we're going to be able to have whatever we're feeling, these experiences, ultimately explained to us, for us, figure them out. I think the fight is the last thing we want to do here. But I don't know how else to confront this situation. but it feels wrong to fight in a place that feels like home. Unless I'm fighting for home. But this...
I could, I do want to, if not enter the armor, then at least see it. And yeah, I don't see us coming out guns blazing here. I almost wonder if they wish so desperately to protect this thing, maybe I can convince them that I'm a part of it before I get there, if I just walk out.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Well, you're able to change your form a little bit too, right?
Well, I can only survive for maybe a minute outside of the suit.
Oh, I think you're able to create a visual that's different.
Yes. Yeah,
You could match that suit in appearance entirely, right?
Yeah. I'm just afraid they probably sense the power from this thing, and they'll sense nothing from me, I imagine.
You got power.
Yeah. I don't know. We could just step out. I could step out and see what happens, and maybe...
You know, we're in this space where weird stuff is happening. I would be okay with stepping out and seeing whether these things react hostilely or not.
Say we come in peace. Say we came to worship.
Yeah. And if they
Little
do...
interpretive dance, you know.
And we're feeling powerful. You know, maybe we can wield the power in here somehow.
Maybe.
I'm seeing a lot of possibilities.
All right. Are we good with stepping out?
I have one suggestion.
Okay.
Weapons down. I don't carry anything.
Yeah.
I don't carry anything in my hands. Don't be threatening at all.
No.
My suggestion is, Aramis, you stay back here, so that if things go awry, you can, not be in immediate danger.
Oh, Sweetwell, I agree with you, except that's not how I would feel in my home.
Okay.
I would be the first one to enter my home. So, how about a compromise and I stick with the grid?
Okay, we're doing this. We're going in. We're just walking in with the bugs, and we're just
going in, Greg.
Sleepwell, as the four of you prepare to enter, you have all of these possibilities that I've talked about in front of you, and suddenly you see two more emerge. One involves the four of you walking into the room with weapons down. And you walk into the room, stride forward, walk up to the armor. The creatures move out of the way. You take the armor and leave with it.
Oh.
The second is that you walk out into the room and are immediately annihilated by multiple stingers and creatures that shoot you from all directions. And your party is wiped out.
Oh, God.
So, obviously, hands go up. It's like, did you all see that?
No.
See what?
What do you...
Two possibilities. I just saw two possible futures for us. Either this is exactly the right thing to do. We walk right up and we take possession, or we walk in and unseen bugs from all over the room just fusillade us with their stingers and we die.
To be clear, Sleepwell, what is different between the two besides us dying? What is different about us?
Nothing. We walk the same way. So
there's no weapons up, no confidence, no... Are we entering the room in different ways?
Let me ask the DM that.
Yeah, it looks like it's the same way, except that one of them involves, like, you walk in and then, 5 seconds later you're all obliterated, or...
So I turn wide-eyed and I say, it's exactly the same. It's literally a coin toss. It's a leap of faith.
Petra, you exactly remember the words leap of faith. Exactly.
And I say, yes, it is. Let's make it.
Sleepwell straightens up, and I think we're waiting for Cosmoritis to lead us, but yeah, he's ready to walk.
I, very unlike Kaz, lead the party and go to the front
I'm right behind.
rather than the back.
Okay.
Right
There you
behind
go.
him.
And
What's-
I step out.
What's your demeanor as you do this, Kaz? Like, I mean, what is your state of, like, how
As
do you
if,
hold yourself?
Not hiding anything, as if I am walking. I wouldn't say pride is the word, but more reverence. As I walk into, kind of as it was put before, almost a place to worship. A small part of me is ready for reprisal, but most of it is the hopes that these insects are pastors here to welcome us.
Okay. Go ahead and step out into, let's put you, well, you know, if you want to walk here.
Sure,
I don't want to tell you
Yeah,
where to go, but
I
I'm
go
assuming you're going
square
to.
by square.
Yeah, like I should ask you, like, are you, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
want to
it
direct your
depends on-
character, like,
I mean, it also depends on if something happens. I step out here,
nothing happens
they-
yet. And if you step
Okay.
out, then everyone else is right behind you, I think, right? So,
yeah.
okay.
So sure, I
Um,
end up pretty much in the center, I guess.
Now, question, are you, as you're doing this, are the four of you almost like in a square? I'm not saying in a foolish way, but you know what I mean? Like, are you kind of as a group advancing? Do you know what I mean? As opposed to single file this time? Or not?
I think advancing in single filed.
It's up to you.
Works for me.
Just behind Kaz. I kind of like want to let him be our priest here, our Hierophant.
Okay. Okay, so go ahead and place your tokens, please, the way you want them in the room. And I'm going to talk about what happens here with Kaz in just a minute. So, okay, we got Sleepwell there. And Petra, and then Aramis in the back. Sort of going as a group, as it were. As you enter the room, all of you feel an intensity of the experience that I mentioned in the hallway. I should say intensifying of the experience. So, Aramis, starting from back to front, you feel this incredible surge in this sense of walking home, as if you are, for the first time in ages, walking up to the front door of your place, right? And opening up and stepping inside into your own familiar room with your films in their proper places, with the merchandise and the paraphernalia. And then there's something a little strange about it, Aramis, but in general, it feels familiar and very intensely like you've entered home. Petra, you have this sense as you're walking, every step feels like you've walked it before now, like you've seen and been here and done this, and you almost remember yourself for a moment like walking forward as if a child. I'll come back to that in a minute because that feels weird, but I'll come back to that. Sleep well. You, as you're walking forward, have this intense experience where now all of these possible futures, there are rows of you and your compatriots next to each other, all walking down. And as you look left and right, these ghostly figures, basically, to your left and right, you see them holding up their fists in triumph. Another one devastated, slaughtered on the ground. Another one holding one while the other two run forward. Another one where Kaz has shot one of you, Petra, and has run forward to collect the armor for himself. Another one in which all of these things, right, at the same time as you're having this experience, as you're walking forward. Kaz, as for you as you walk forward, feel as if you are approaching the face of the Creator itself, those who might have made the energies in the past, whatever that means to you, right? And whatever that means to the Belare. But again, something doesn't quite feel right. And as you move forward closer and closer, and I won't keep moving you all the way, but I'm just going to like move you forward one, like here, say. The creatures seem to, these two kind of like step forward each one, and then this one kind of flies forward slightly and slowly and sort of stares down upon you, Kaz. And then sort of looking at you, kind of its wings slightly vibrating, slowly shifts to the right and waits. Now each of you can act the way you want.
I think he wants you to go forward, I say to Kaz. Just into his ear.
I continue stepping forward.
Right behind him.
Petra, Aramis.
Following as well.
Okay. You all move up here. Again, I don't want to move your tokens. I'm just, explaining how, the way you're describing it to me. So, yeah. So you come there, assuming everyone's behind. The room now has fallen. There's no buzzing at all, of course. There's just sort of silent watching, as you approach. And as you are walking up here to the altar, Aramis, what do you remember of your past when you had a memory? What do you remember of it?
Are you talking about prior to being an Ashen Forged?
I would say as much of whatever your past means to you, whether that means from your memory as an Ashen Forged or visions that you've kind of assembled afterwards of the the time before, if you ever had guesses or, speculations about it.
Aramis never doesn't really process data speculations. He did have dreams.
Dreams, I'll take.
Violent dreams sometimes. Visions of battlefields, of a family, almost like royalty, but think the Atreides from Dune.
Mm-hmm.
A brother, his best friend, who murdered him. And as he was dying, the brother said, you will never know anything again. And yours will be a life of service. As he handed me over to a Melder as my body died to be reforged.
Aramis, as these sort of memories sort of run through you, you begin to realize what's unfamiliar about this. You never had a house like the one you're remembering. You never had a place where you walked in and saw your films and merchandise on the sides of the walls. You never had a place like this. It feels like a memory, but it doesn't feel like your memory. Petra, as you are sort of stepping forward, and I mentioned this thing, I mentioned that you felt like a child, and there's a moment where you imagine yourself as almost a young girl, but that's not how Ashen Forged work. It feels so real, but it can't be, right? And Sleepwell, the total, the rows of creatures, right, around you that are all doing these things. You notice that as they're doing all these things, whether it's lifting their fists in triumph, whether it's slaughtering each other, whether it's, sort of crying in despair at somebody lying on the ground. These all seem like possible futures, Sleepwell, but none of your friends would do any of these things. They would not cruelly triumph, nor would they stab each other in the back, nor would they weep sadly while they are, devastated by enemies. They wouldn't do any of this. And Kaz, and this occurs to you just as you're about to get to the altar, this thing that you're looking at, which is so intensely powerful, perhaps you are facing some kind of, creative, some piece of that creation. But the Bellare are universal, not driven by a suit. It's you, the energy in the suit, not the suit, right? So all of this is running through your heads as these creatures are looking at you, and Kaz, you're now, I would say, right next to the altar. And again, everyone's will is their own. These are just sort of like things that are flowing through you. So I'm just moving people forward to give you... Really sorry, I don't know what I just did there. I think I accidentally moved someone. Yeah, exactly. I think I just accidentally
now
somehow...
we're tiny and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Then it gets really weird. No, I didn't do that. My bad, sorry. I was just I apologize. Okay.
Sleepwell's gone.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened to Sleepwell.
I'm off the map. Yeah.
Yeah, Sleepwell vanished. All right, I'll bring you back. Give me a second. I'll grab you.
Oh, God.
That's actually perfect. And then you vanish. No, that didn't happen.
The end.
Son of a... Okay, there you are. And you're not that small. Okay, much better. Sorry. All right, Kazi, you're right there at the altar. And the rest of you are where you are.
I stop in front of the altar. And again, the feeling I'm getting is kind of simultaneously that it is related to the ancestors of the Bellare, but also that there's something deceptive about the suit.
No, there's some... Well... Make an insight check, please.
Sure.
I'm going to give you advantage on this. Inspiration, I should say. I have an inspiration.
Lovely.
Okay.
Absolutely lovely.
All right.
I love it.
I'll look up the...
Yeah, I know, Ridno. I noticed I was doing that. I'm talking about hypnotic power as I mindlessly move tokens forward. Hypnotizing myself.
All right, here we go. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the advantage. That 17 is plus 11.
Nice.
28 is your insight?
Yeah, specialist. That's what I've been adding.
Good God. Insight, not perception on this one. Insight.
Yeah, yep.
Wow. So it's not that the suit, that's a very... I'm about to give you a lot of information because that's a really good roll. It's not that the suit is deceptive. It's that this power is overwhelming, and you feel like you are at the nexus of existence. I don't mean to overstate that. That sounds like incredible, like you just did, Arv. But it's as if you were at the nexus of all things.
Yeah.
If this is what was drawing Aricia and Abraxas to Illustria, then you can see why. And how incredibly dangerous / potentially powerful this is. Because this clearly is the source of what has brought people here. Maybe not the source of all the Silrain Arc, who knows? But it's the source of something. As if you were in the heart of a crucible. So you see what I mean about it not being deceptive? It's not that it's trying to deceive you. It's that, it's almost like the feeling experience of being drunk. You're not sure you know exactly what's real and what isn't at the moment.
I turn around to the party. And I say, if I go in there, I don't think it'll be me that pilots the suit.
You mean you think the suit would change you so you're not you anymore, or well, then I don't think you should go in.
This gives me the same feeling that Alfred had been wanting for itself. Kind of linking to something larger. I know we're all getting some strange sense of how powerful this thing is, but this is so beyond anything I understand that I don't see me still existing if I touch it. At least, not just me.
Greg, does that match like what he got from his insight? I'm still a little. I didn't quite follow what happened with the insight, so. Not that it matters. Maybe I shouldn't.
No.
It's my interpretation of what he.
Yeah, said. I mean, I think that's. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to dictate. No, that's the wrong interpretation. I think that's a reasonable interpretation, maybe. Yeah, there is an overwhelming force, and it's unclear what the overwhelming force does, but it's not clearly intending to deceive. It's not about intent. It's about the existence of this force that is so powerful that it changes. It's the power of creation in some sense.
Gotta look at the bugs. What are they doing right now? Like, especially the ones that, like, not the one that was flying that moved aside, but what are the other two doing?
They are because they are like insectoid, they're a little bit hard to read, but they look to be sort of, they are there, kind of gripping. I don't actually think they have weapons. These are large creatures. No, they have these pincers. So their pincers are sort of tensely held, and they seem to be like just held almost not in suspended animation like in a trance, but like there is tension that you feel from them.
Like they're ready to pounce?
Yeah, but not like they're angry and ready to attack. It's they clearly are waiting for something.
Like vigilance.
Yes, vigilance, a signal, a sign. An action, an event.
What's the one that's flying doing?
It actually is very similar to that, except that it is flying in the air, but it has that same sensation of tension.
I'll just try to speak to them quickly. I'll be like, do you speak? Do you speak? Do you speak?
And they're just like a very faint buzzing from the wings of the one.
I turn to everyone, I'm already facing everyone, and say, regardless of that, I have been a mercenary for 30 years. Always wondered a little bit about the Bellare, about our people, our history. Never really took it seriously. And I think, even though I don't know what's on the other side, given an opportunity to understand that, I would take it over another 30 years of piloting through space and saving people and it's been fulfilling, but I've never had something like this. I turn and look back at the suit.
Okay.
So you are going in?
I think so.
I'm gonna hug him from behind and say, well then let me say goodbye.
I my suit, the mechanics of it shift around so that I'm facing you while we're still hugging. The legs rotate around. I give you a much less robotic pat than I did earlier.
I say, I would have spent 30 years exploring the universe with you.
I would too. There's nothing wrong with that. But Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I kind of separate from you and stand and look at Petra.
You can tell Petra is not incredibly happy about this, but just gives you a nod and kind of, if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do, my friend.
I look at Aramis.
Aramis regards you with concern and appreciation at the same time. And he says, no matter what happens, we will still be here for you. And I can tell you that I'm not the same person now that was the person that walked in that door. So find out whatever it is you need to find out. And at least let us know you're okay. And Aramis moves to sit down on one of the pews and just sort of leans back.
Yeah.
And relaxes.
So does Sleepwell, right next to Aramis.
Petra will remain standing, but will lean on the pew near them.
Gaz will give another look at everyone, and then one at each of the insects, and then he will kneel down in front of the altar like a knight waiting to be knighted. And as he's kneeling there motionless, the front panels of the suit that show the star energy inside sort of oh yeah, I'll wait for Arv.
Sorry, go on.
You're good. The front panels of the suit, the chest kind of steam comes out as the suit is still motionless, kneeling there, and the amoeba-like star cloud slowly drifts out and approaches the ancient suit.
Okay. And you sort of like fly around, the suit. As you get closer, the glow to you seems to intensify. And finally you're floating right next to this, thing at the center of the armor.
I will attempt to enter the suit, and not necessarily touching the orb, although I feel like that might happen anyway, because the orb is embedded in the suit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I will attempt to enter the suit as a Bellari.
You enter the suit. You feel the energy in your body extending out to the arms and then the hands, and the energy as it extends into the feet feels as if you extend across parsecs of space, across galaxy and planets. As your energy fills the arms towards the fingers, you can feel yourself moving through galaxies, through the rings of planets. And for a brief moment, you are, it seems, everywhere at once while still within this room. And then all of you see the suit lift itself up, the glow of blue. The Zamarin suddenly, as if released from a string, buzz. And we will find out what that means during the finale of Esper Genesis.
Mother.
Good
How
one. Good one.
dare!
Well, my goodness.
good.
Wow. What? Yeah, my daughter came in the middle of that. Was like, Dad. I'm like, no, not now. Hang on a second. I'll be Dad in a minute. Just wait. I'm gonna go down and make
I'll
sure
be
she's
down
okay.
in a minute. Right now, I'm Arvanella.
Right now, I'm figuring out. We're feeling all the feels. I'm gonna go down and make sure she's okay in just a second. No, she was fine. She wasn't like actually desperate. But wow. The intensity of the experience that we just represented. There were moments there where I was like, first of all, that was lovely, Zach. I didn't actually know what Kaz was going to do about that. I didn't know what any of you were going to do about that. The other thing that really got me was the sitting on the pews. I mean, I was like, oh my God, just this beautiful sort of almost, spiritual in the broadest possible sense, right? In the nicest, the broadest possible sense, the most universal sense. There, what lovely stuff from the players. That was really good stuff, and it sets us up beautifully for the finale, which will incorporate everybody, believe me, as it has already, in fact, and really, really lovely moments there. So I am going to say goodnight to all of you. I got to go make sure that my daughter's fine just for a second. So I'm going to go do that. And maybe while I do that, you could take a minute just talking to chat about what you all were feeling just then. And then I will be back in 1 minute and we'll wrap. I promise only 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh my God. Wow.
Zach is the captain now.
That was.
Well, that was, I gotta say, it's very emotional because, I mean, at least for Petra, because we've been buds. And
yeah. Just because I don't, who knows what, especially when he kind of elucidated eventually that it feels like it is everything,
Yeah.
And how powerful it is. Like all connects instantly to all the themes of like the Alfreds, the long winter. Like initially there was a moment there where Kaz is like, if this is going to be a whole nother long winter thing, then I'm not going to do it. But
Right. That's where I thought you were going, actually.
yeah. But then I think a part of it too is Kaz was like, well, this isn't the long winter. It could be the same thing, but I think what it came down to is Kaz was like, am I going to play it safe and continue doing what I was doing for all my years, or am I going to take a chance at something amazing? That could be amazing.
Godhead.
Yeah, I don't know. So, jeez.
I have to say, it's not what I was expecting at all. So I really love that. Like, I was not expecting an altar. I was not expecting a Valari.
Yeah, a Valari suit or any of that.
Yeah.
I was not expecting weird logic puzzle.
Yeah.
Logic puzzle. God.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a penultimate episode without a random logic puzzle being thrown in.
Yeah.
I remember in my D&D days in high school, one of our DM discovered like Raymond Smulyan's book of logic puzzles, and then it was just like nothing but like every dungeon door was like, this door is a lying. Door is not.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
And Johnny, your idea to sit on the pew, it was
That was nice.
It was like
Nice touch.
pitch perfect. Pitch perfect.
Nice cinematic to it.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna meow at me? Come here.
There's so much untapped in this particular part of the story that I like where we're getting to explore elements that are not thematically about violence here.
Yeah.
At an end where we've been so essentially war torn in some ways, whether at the in the middle of a big conflict or just tracking down or doing things that are hugely based around opposing forces and violence. It's nice to get to a point where we're making choices that are not about violence at all and about what I would describe as humanity.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Like going guns blazing, that would have been a messy fight.
Yeah.
That happened to the suit,
Yeah.
Right.
Instead, something extremely much more interesting than that is about to happen.
Yeah.
So cool. So cool.
That's so
And
good.
that was really good job. I mean, it was just like a pitch perfect sort of like
Right.
Yep.
and perfect for Aramis too. Like
Yeah.
he's exactly the one who would have figured it out first. Like even though you were the one who figured it out first, like also your character would have been the first.
Yeah. And I like
Aramis is pretty much an audience member in a lot of ways for things that happen for us. So it made sense that he would want to be in the front row.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, all set, all good to go. Everything's fine. We're all fine here. How are you? Okay. So everyone speak about things that they wanted to speak about?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, really lovely though, from everybody involved. And yeah, very almost reverential, which is not exactly what I didn't know actually what to expect leading into it. But as I say, we'll set up nicely for the end of this campaign next week. I will start at the bottom and work my way around. Zach, good moments, obviously. Very good moments in particular about, the way that you addressed the 30-year thing. That wasn't something that I had expected. I mean, I didn't know, as I say, I didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't sure if you were going to be like, this is not something I want to go do. Like I don't want to be a part of this, and sort of turned away from it, which would have been a perfectly valid, way to address it. And then we would have rolled with that. But instead you decided that you wanted to sort of be a part of what this was. And it helped that you got that, 28, godlike insight where you're just kind of I see all, so that was pretty amazing too. And the moments with your friends, with everybody being like, Aramis's line about we'll all be there for you, and everybody nodding, that was really, really lovely. And I think, sort of reflected Kaz's journey maybe throughout the course of this campaign to this point, and we'll see what happens in our finale. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Today's session was amazing. This campaign is amazing. This crew is amazing. You're an amazing DM. And I was just thinking too, I was telling them about the, I brought up the long winter briefly in our out of game discussion afterwards, and was saying that this could possibly be similar, tapping into something much larger than yourself. Who knows, that's causes fear, having literally been through it before.
Yeah.
That he might lose control of himself in some aspect with this.
Right.
And it didn't hit me until you were speaking just now that I think the difference this time is choice. That with the long winter, he didn't have the choice and got to experience the downsides of that. And every step along the way, even though the long winter eventually, it was pretty, as far as things that could be described actually as parasitic, it was actually, pretty, it was all right. He talked to it and it was inside, and the resolution of it was fulfilling. But I think now the difference being that he has a choice of tapping into something larger than himself. Yeah. So yeah, that was very cool. And we were just, I'm hoping Johnny brings it up when he finishes out, but he was mentioning how kind of these encounters near the end of the campaign, we've gone through so much that we're focusing more on human conflicts rather than physical conflicts, but Johnny put it much more smoothly. And yeah, the sitting on the pew thing. Also, last thing I'll say is I like how in the way that this scene played out, each of us got something a little different. The two Ashen Forged, they got a sense of the past, and feeling like they've been here before. Sleepwell got the future, and it was really cool seeing Carlos and Sleepwell playing with the multiverse idea.
Carlos has no experience with that, so
yeah, not at all. Which was, I mean, good improv there. No experience with the multiverse in any way, or let alone breaking it. Yeah, no. So yeah, that was amazing. That was awesome. Definitely a top 10 roleplay moment, I would have to say, or scene, definitely. So yeah, that's me. You all can find me here on this channel, of course, for Esper Genesis for one last session next week. and our vocalists, and other things soon to be. And I'm sure you'll hear about them. Excited for ArcCon next week, and that's me.
Good stuff, Zach. Very, very good work tonight. Carlos, I jokes aside, I obviously, I had a feeling you'd have a way to handle multiverse issues. But one of the things that I was interested in was I honestly didn't know what Sleepwell's reaction would be to it. I didn't know if Sleepwell would react. I mean, you mentioned about being freaked out, which is reasonable, but I didn't know whether Sleepwell's reaction, when you first said you were leaning into it, I thought that was really neat. And then when you were like, it felt like you continued to lean into it, but you were like, but I don't, you were kind of like, how does one deal with multiple futures at the same time? How does one deal with multiple pathways, which ultimately is somewhat accurate, right? I mean, our future is always being written, but we don't see the pathways as they play out simultaneously, in our head. We think this might happen and then maybe this and this and this, but not, here's the chain of events, here's that chain, and then we have to decide among the chain of events. How can we decide those things? Because we're such, in so many ways, linear thinkers. It's kind of the way that our lives are constructed. So I was really curious to see how you were going to react to that. And I could have seen it being where you would freak out and be like, guys, we need to get out of here. Or that you could have been like, we're at a moment that we need to kind of embrace what this is. And maybe Sleepwell, you can tell me if you think this is the case, maybe Sleepwell would have acted differently earlier than the way that Sleepwell acted now. I don't know. But
100%.
Yeah.
He had trust in the people around him,
Okay.
and that made a huge amount of difference. And, what he was looking for there was a solution. The thing that freaked him out, though, was when all of the universes combined to turn back to him and whisper, "Sleep well."
Yeah.
Freaks.
Yeah.
That to me was just like, see, that's not just possibility spinning out. That's intention.
Right.
When that happened, Sleepwell was convinced that the place was clearly haunted, but haunted by the universe itself, by the construction of the
More or
fabric
less, yeah.
itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it's almost like there was no escaping at that point. At that point, there was only forward, because fate's gonna find you.
Yeah.
So I really like that part, and it was really interesting to sort of like, I love the way how all of us had different feelings and reactions that were tied to our characters. I also just want to say that inspiration may be the best inspiration that's ever been given on this channel ever. Zach rolled a 1.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah. That was pretty sick.
Roll.
Yeah.
Like, I basically saved the campaign. Want to say,
Yep.
I'm awesome. You know.
Otherwise, you would have been like, I don't know, seems like armor to me. Like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I think it looks good, don't you? I think it looks slick. We should put that up on the wall.
Right. And I mean, like, also, just what Zach said, just ending this campaign on, a movement toward humanity fits in exactly with all of these philosophical discussions we've had about the nature of life and who gets to decide your fate. And it just feels like a perfect, non-violent, super interesting climax that I did not see coming or anticipate, and I love. So kudos to you for setting this up. Kudos to my fellow role-playing gang here who played it out so interestingly and so well. Just really loved it. Really, really loved it. You're going to see me here next week. I'm going to be grading up until then. So,
He like shuts off, grade. Turns back on in a week,
exactly,
basically.
Yeah, I am a paper ATM from now until the 26th, and then I come back to life on the 27th.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that moment of returning to life. I'm glad we gave you a little bit of an off ramp just before the highway of vapors. Boy, do I know that feel. But thank you, Carlos. Really, really good work again, as always, from you. As always, Kat, Petra, the sense of that there is a sort of I've really loved having two Ashenforged characters in this campaign who can approach things in very different ways. That affinity for machines thing that we've been talking about is going to find some resolution in our finale. But leading up to it, say again. I promise. But leading up to it though, the sense of kind of playing with one's origins is something which is very powerful, it seems to me. And I think you've been able to play with that as your story has unfolded with Tezora, with, however you were originally created, that supposedly Tezora was there at the when it happened, and like all of that. And so in a way, leading up to origins in the past and coming to terms with what that is a big part of Petra's story, and that will of course come to some resolution in our next one. So it's different from Aramis because of the different nature of the past, but it's been interesting to see how each of you have addressed it and handled it. And I wondered too about whether Petra was going to be happy about, Kaz going on and taking this great new step, because it feels to me like Petra very much is...
Oh, Petra's desperately unhappy about it.
Yeah.
But not gonna,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess that was something which came through in a really powerful way. So yeah, I guess, how did you feel about this and all that kind of thing, and where will they find you?
It's kind of sad. I'm going to be very sad to see this game close down. I got a kind of like kick in the gut tonight that made me think, oh shit, it actually is. It's going to be pretty high emotions that last session. Yeah, it's always just such a pleasure, and this has been an extraordinary. I mean, we've 3 years now, and it's been amazing. I don't really have anything specific to say about this session. I mean, I'm still kind of
processing the whole. Well, that's good, because in a way, this session is designed to get everyone thinking about the whole. So yeah. Well, your work was lovely in this, as usual. So, where will the fine folks find you before next week?
I'll be on Twitter, hanging around as I always do, posting pictures of my cat.
Do you have panels on for the Nebulas at all?
No, I'm not at the Nebulas.
Okay. I had forgotten to mention before, Chet, I will be on a panel on narrative in game design tomorrow, actually, at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. So you can join me over there. Very exciting. It's my first ever appearance on a Nebula panel of any type, so that's very nice.
Cool.
Very
I'm
cool.
on a Nebula panel on Sunday. I'll just say it's Latinx writers coming together. So
nice.
So that's Sunday if you're going.
So the grading panel, and then back to grading.
Yeah.
But no, really lovely stuff, Kat. Thank you, and yeah, more to come on this, of course, next week. And last but certainly not least, as I say, Johnny, Aramis, again, in a different sense, is dealing with his past and coming to terms with it. I loved the dreams idea, and a lot of stuff that people were like, oh, wow, kind of imagining possible pasts. And memory can be treacherous, right? Like, is that how it happened or not? And the other part of it that the thing about the pews, the reason I found that very powerful is that there was this sense that you had picked up on what all three of you, not Kaz was different here, had picked up on, was this sense of kind of like a waiting for friendship, waiting for a friend, but also sort of, I don't know, I had this immediate visual of just respect. Like, I think this would be an incredible end of episode, right? Can you imagine, chat, for a minute, of like the three people that we've come to love sitting down and waiting to see what happens to their friend, like in a church setting? Like, it blew my mind, just because it was a simple action, but it seemed to really represent how Aramis's journey also was passed, where you're not the drunk cynic, that you spent much of the early part of the campaign as. And man, that is such a lovely arc to watch. So that was great work from you too, Johnny. How'd you feel about tonight? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Tonight was the heart of the campaign. Next week will be the resolution, and we will all be sad and have much feels and everything that I think everything that comes out of the way that we're going to feel in the next 7 days as we're thinking about this end. It's tonight is going to make me think about how each of us have played from the beginning. I mean, when Sleepwell came in as a character and when Carlos came in as a part of the story, we were in a much different place, and we were very much sort of this ragtag sort of cynical group, and we had Sleepwell, this innocent sort of idealist, sort of come in and just kind of reshape the story for us. So in large part, I think we found the heart of the story once Carlos joined us, and we really became this sort of much more nuanced, much more complex set of characters and stories. And so that was actually one of the things I was alluding to, as Zach was talking about earlier, which was that we have evolved from just being strictly about the violent conflicts to more complex, unusual, humanitarian or humanistic, however you want to refer to it, like decision making and approaches to problems. There's so much going on there that you only get that after so long. So it's been a fantastic ride, and I've actually been thinking about this for a couple of months when we first decided that this campaign was ending and we were moving on to something else, is how we were going to get to here and have this experience and not be completely devastated about the idea that we're losing these characters in some way and then gaining something else as we move forward. It's nice and it's very sad, and I'm expecting tears next week. So the fine folks can find me here next week, where I will be finally home and finally broadcasting from home after so
Yay,
long.
home.
And so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I mean, that's the theme of home is tied in a little bit to what we're doing here too. So yeah, very, very well said, very well summarized. And again, I won't go into this too much because I'm going to be saying a lot about it next week, but what a just absolute privilege to be able to GM this group. I really appreciate how everyone has kind of leaned into each other in this and has really brought things together to produce extraordinary moments. And again, I would put these up against any moments you will watch on any show. It's that good. So, and chat, you're a big part of that as an audience that's watching and participating. So lovely work tonight. I agree. There will be tears, but also good emotions. The best endings are bittersweet ones, right? They're not all endings. What is it? Gandalf says in Lord of the Rings, not all tears are an evil. So, that's something we will think about, over the next 7 days. And it won't just be Waterworks. I'm sure there will be fun as well. One thing we didn't mention, by the way, I did promise Johnny I would do this in case chat was curious. And if you don't want this to be spoiled, then just, shut this down right now. But so, yeah, the rules of that little math problem that you all did was basically correct. So it was, you multiplied the one on the bottom row, you multiplied the two together to come up with the second row, right? And then the second row of numbers, you added the two together and subtracted 10 to come up with the third row. And then the third row, you added the two together and divided by 3. So 10 plus 17, 27 divided by 3 is 9. 17 plus, what was that? Was that also 10? Over on that side?
Yeah,
there's
so.
10 both sides.
Yeah. So then 27 divided by 3 is 9. And so that's how you got to those ones. And that was the sort of code. And they had all kinds of things in here about, like, if they don't get it, eventually you can have one of them make like a mechanics check to them, like mechanics check. Just wait for these super smart people to figure it out. That's what we're gonna do. And yeah. So anyway, good work on that. In case you're curious, does that make sense now, Johnny? That the layout of the puzzle and all that. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. Rudin, a couple people were back channeling me private message, be like, I think it's this. I won't say anything, but I think it's this. I had like a bunch of like Twitch whispers, people being like, I think it might be this thing. It was really funny.
Nice.
So, but anyway, wonderful stuff tonight, players. And thank you so much for putting up with my having to run down to make sure everything was okay. I will see you lovely folks for the premiere of ArvCon 2022 and the conclusion of Esper Genesis Shadow of the Zephyr. Oh my God, suddenly Rippin' the Goon, who has been here on and off many, many times throughout the years, has gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you, Rippin' the Goon. Thank you so much. Rippin' has been here on and off for many, many years. So it's good to see you. Thank you, Rippin', so much. So welcome back to Lone Wolf. Welcome back to Fjord Kelvin. Welcome back to JLC. Welcome back to Bulgaris and SG Child 9. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much, Rippin' the Goon. Players, wonderful job tonight, and I will see you folks next week. Thank you so much to Johnny Pittman, to Kat Rambo, to Carlos Hernandez, and to Zach Clay. Wonderful work, everyone, and I will see you for ArvCon 2022 next Friday. Check, we get some love for the players. Thank you all.
Thank you, Greg. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night, chat.
All right. Wow. Whew. That was great. That was great, man. Have I mentioned that I like role playing? How much I like role playing? Have I? I mean, seriously, like, and it's nothing against any other form of any kind of game that people want to play, but like, look, for real, what other game produces this kind of stuff? And I'm talking about, role playing type of stuff, D&D and so on. Again, thank you so much for that, Rip in the Goon. I appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. But like, what honestly ever makes it? I'm just always amazed how wonderful both D&D and D&D, obviously tabletop role-playing in general, sort of like broad D&D stuff is. I'm just always amazed about that. It was great. It was great to see it. It was great to see the players. And again, to really have players buy in is a big part of this. And that's why I'm glad that most of these folks will be going on with us to a new campaign. But yeah, we've been with players for like 3.5 years, and it'll end up being 78 episodes of content, well over 200 hours of content of this campaign from its opening session all the way through until we got to the end, and which is going to come to a close next Friday. So it's been great, and I can't wait, honestly, for these folks to see what happens in our next session. It's going to be awesome, and there's going to be a lot of the remaining questions. A lot of those remaining questions will be answered. So, but that is going to do it for us for this evening, chat, as we have reached the witching hour. It is midnight. I am going to be back tomorrow with some Metroid Prime, and if people want to talk with me more about the session tonight, that would be an appropriate time to do so. I will be happy to discuss more about these things. But I had a lovely time, and again, such wonderful players, and a wonderful campaign that was put together for us by the amazing and awesome Alligator Alley Entertainment. So it's going to be good stuff. So, but that is going to do it for me for this evening. If you liked what you saw and heard, I hope you will follow the channel. I hope you will check out our YouTube, !ArvTube, and subscribe to us there. Discord, !ArvCord, Twitter, !ArvTweets, and website, arvineleron.com. Financially, !ArvShop is the merchandise area. !ArvTrayon is the Patreon. That's something that also really helps the channel financially. You can get good stuff for yourself and good for stuff individually. And of course, subbing to the channel, as many of you resubbed, subbed, gifted, did some cheering, and of course we just had that 5-sub gift pack from the amazing Rip and the Goon. Well, I hope you'll get a chance to check some of the VODs if you can, man. I understand that you're busy too, but yeah, it was worth it. If you're able to get a chance to watch it, it'll be awesome. But thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that. And so gifting those subs is, as Rip and the Goon did, is a really lovely way to help us as well. So thank you. Also, thank you to Rudenel for gifting a sub, by the way, to Write, Teach, Play. So everybody, so many people contributed tonight. So thank you for all of that. With that said, I also want to mention the publishing stuff. Icarus for my Icarus graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library for my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And Alligator Alley and Athos Arts are going to be putting together my Greyshade Kickstarter. Remember, Greyshade KS. In just about a week and a half, we are going to be officially releasing Greyshade, the first novel of the Grey Assassin trilogy from Athos Arts. And then 2 weeks after that is the launch of the Greyshade Kickstarter. Renegade and Heretic, books 2 and 3 in that Grey Assassin trilogy, will be a part of that Kickstarter, as will a tabletop role-playing game from Alligator Alley, Rich Lescouflair and Aaron Rosenberg designing that. And of course, we've got Trendane Sparks doing an audiobook as well. I just heard the video for that, and it's so good. I am very, very excited. 10 days away before these things all sort of set into motion. So I'm very, very excited about that and pumped up, and you will not want to miss it. So again, that's Greyshade KS. As always, BLM, Black Lives Matter. Very important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Help Now, which is the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. And Ukraine, 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 to help the people of Ukraine fight against an illegitimate illegitimate and unjust and illegal war, to fight back against that, as they are so bravely doing right now. Last thing that I want to mention to everybody, and we're going to put this command together as well, is ARVCon. For those of you who missed it, my big charity convention to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation is now only a week away. It launches next Friday, and the people that we've got are going to be a part of this in the mod list. As I just pop this up, where we have this stuff there. So our corporate sponsors for this, for those of you who missed it, are going to be Alligator Alley, Athos Arts, Fatbot Games, GOG.com, Hairbrain Schemes, Nomad Games, Pegasus Spiele, and Tin Man Games. And again, there may or may not be a couple of others that will jump on board, but those are the ones that we know about. That's our largest list of sponsors ever, so many thanks to all of them. That's in addition, of course, to many individual sponsors that I've talked about and we'll speak more about when we get to this next week. And as far as the schedule is concerned, next Friday is when we launch from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern. The conclusion of the campaign that you just watched, Esper Genesis, Shadow of the Zephyr, will conclude next Friday. And so I think that's going to be must-see TV, people. You're not going to want to miss that. That's 8 to 12, and that will be, again, the finale of Esper Genesis and the beginning of ARVCon 2022. Day 2 of ARVCon 2022 will begin at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, as we have an interview with Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation scientists Alison Didichuk, Lexi von Diesman, and Sukrit Singh. Again, all scientists working in cancer research and gifted ones, because that's the only way they get to be a part of Damon Runyon. And then from 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern, Adventures of Middle-earth, Airborne Adventures. That crew is going to be trying to hunt down a dragon, so you will definitely want to be here for that. Then from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we have a one-shot D&D adventure with GOG.com players Darksaber 2K, Fleos, Inanda, Peripheral Mike, and Undeveloped Bruce. That's going to be happening. I'm very excited about that. And then we have got from Saturday from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern, our concert, which is going to feature in order of performance Kilgore Trout, Chrono Wolf, Zach Clay, and Indy. Very excited to have that crew with us. Then day 3 of ARVCon 2022, Sunday, May 29th, from 12 to 7:30, a marathon session of D&D with I&B as we play Eberron. That is going to be major, so you're not going to want to miss that marathon session. Eberron, Oracle of War, Season 2, A Century of Ashes. And then May 29th from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern, we have a special tabletop event coordinated by Carlos Hernandez, featuring 4 people from the Rick Riordan Presents imprint, as Carlos is, and with Will Sobel as the GM, so you're not going to want to miss that. I've already seen a bunch of little things about this for the adventure that Will has planned, and it's going to be awesome, so you will not want to miss that. That's going to be happening Sunday evening, May 29th. And then ARVCon 2022 Day 4 is going to consist of, right now we have from 12 to 3. We may do this earlier, but possibly 12 to 3. This might shift a little earlier to accommodate players a bit, but somewhere in that morning to early afternoon range, we will have a special Strange Friends session with Brandon O'Brien as GM. Strange Friends who have been playing as part of our Speculate game on this channel with Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire. So they're going to be doing a special session with Brandon O'Brien as the GM. And then from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, we have a one-shot tabletop adventure with Michael Underwood as your GM, playing with those same scientists that I'll be interviewing on Saturday. And then we will wrap up on Monday in the evening around 6 evening or so. Thank you, Rip, and have a good night. Absolutely. That's going to be happening in the evening. So very, very exciting for this setup. And again, our goal is $4,000. Last year, we raised $7,000. We had a goal of $3,500, so we doubled the goal. I would not be unhappy if we doubled that goal and ended up with $8,000 this year. But the goal that we're setting is $4,000, and we're going to see how well we can do in terms of Damon Running going forward. So I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good times. So yes, that is ARVCon 2022, and that is happening next week, next Friday. So you will not want to miss it. And again, for those of you who missed this, hashtag ARVCon 2022, which looks very much like this. Hashtag ARVCon 2022. That is what you should please use if you're using this in any kind of like Twitter, social media type of stuff. That is going to be a big part of it. And May 29th and May 30th. Yes, there we go. So that is what ARVCon is for. This is our 8th annual ARVCon. And so, yeah, very excited. Tons of giveaways and all that, and it's going to be great. So that all gets underway next week. But for this week, we are going to wrap up, and we're going to, I don't think we're going to do a raid today. I thought about it. It's not super late, but I think it's okay. We're going to go back to, we do raids. I would say we do raids about 50 to 60% of the time, depending on turnout, depending on time frame and stuff like that. So we will do that again, hopefully tomorrow, because I will be back with you folks tomorrow night, or I guess later on tonight now, Saturday, for some Metroid Prime. So you will definitely not want to miss that. Metroid Prime coming at you as we are almost done with that game, actually. So that's going to be happening tomorrow around somewhere between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern is the start time for that. And then, as I say, coming up on next week, and then lots of ARVCon goodness after we get through the earlier streams in the day. So that is going to do it for me. I want to thank everyone for being awesome today. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Rudnell, Garlic Tofu, Rock God, and Shadow Mage, the best in the business, as I've often said. Hillness was here earlier on as well. Thank you to my wonderful Patreon subscribers and supporters, and subscribers and Patreon supporters. Thank you to Rudnell, the Garlic Tofu, Rock God, Shadow Mage. Thank you to Echo Alpha X5. Thank you to Prince Justin. And thank you as well to Rippin' Lagoon for all of the gifts today. I really appreciate that. Thank you to Rudnell for a gift sub as well. Thank you so much to everyone who subbed and resubbed today. Thank you to my viewers. Thank you to Abjui, to Big Boss. Thank you to Big Damn Judge. Thank you to Crit Twitch, to Terminologies. Thank you to Dragon Spear, who's a mod, and I don't know why he's not showing up there, but he's amazing too. Thank you to Jagtris. Thank you to Lara Craft. Thank you to Nonstop, of course, who's also a sub, so I don't know why he's not showing up there, but he should be. Thank you to Rippin' the Goon. Thank you to Video Store Cowboy. I'll come back to them. And thank you to you, Mickle. And last but certainly not least, thank you to the amazing players tonight. Thank you so much to Johnny Pippin, to Cat Rambo, to Carlos Hernandez, and to Zach Clay for being just so good. It was great. And thank you, chat, also to you for being you. And thank you to Alligator Alley Entertainment, of course, for sponsoring this campaign. That's it for now. I will see you lovely folks back here tomorrow, sometime between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern for some Metroid Prime. Until then, as always, everyone, be good to each other. Have a good night.
When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the Crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.